Hey family, why did my old ass 1980s earrings that I'm wearing today, because we're talking about old people shit, why did they just fall out? Hey family, reporting live from an undisclosed hotel room somewhere on the East Coast. Ooh, child, it's hot in here. And I usually have a little fan on me. So I was gonna open up the damn, these earrings are cute, but I don't think this is gonna work. I think it's gonna keep on falling out. I hate this. Here's the thing about having vintage earrings. Vintage also means old. I hope they don't break. You guys, these are some thrifted earrings from the 80s that I was like, oh my God, how perfect are they? If they fall out, a bitch tried. Okay, it's hot in here. And you know, I was just thinking, the window only opens a crack. Hey family, welcome. The window only opens a crack. And I was like, Blue, why is it whenever you go to a hotel, unless you have a balcony, a lot of these hotels have windows that don't open all the way, until I remembered it's so that people don't jump out the window and unalive themselves. That's morbid. Welcome to the show. Yeah? Can you tell I've had a day? Now, Mercury retrograde has been alive and well. That hoe has hands, feet, and also teeth. So much so, my sister Mel was supposed to land in where we are right now. What am I saying? You all know I'm in Boston. My sister was supposed to land in Boston. I'm in an area near Boston, but not necessarily in Boston. She was supposed to get to New England last night. We were going to kiki, maybe have dinner, wake up in the morning, have breakfast. Oop, it fell out again. Yeah, I tried. I don't know what the fuck. Oh, wait. Did I put it incorrectly? Wait, you guys, the earring fell out, but the back is still on. What kind of magic trick? Now, hold on. I'm going to try one more time. But my sister was supposed to come here last night. Oh, there's two backs on it. Bitch, what? Okay, you know what? Maybe I need to go on Age of Attraction. Maybe I'm the old bitch who needs to get me a 27-year-old to tell me not to put two backs on my earrings. No wonder the shit keeps falling out. Sorry, guys. ADHD. So anyways, my sister was supposed to come into town from DC last night, have breakfast, go check out my childhood home, because I'm going to be renovating it. And she's going to be moving into my childhood home over the summer as my project manager. Yes, I've officially hired Mel to be my assistant. So Mel and I were going to today go to my childhood home, which is like 9,000 acres. Not 9,000 acres, 9,000 square feet. Sorry, 9,000 acres would be much bigger. It's 9,000 square feet of land and housing. And I want to redo it. I want to slowly but surely redo it. And the only way I can redo it is if she's living there, and also keeping my stepdad company and checking on my mom. So it's just mutually beneficial that as she's retiring from being a teacher, I need a lot of fucking help, right? So we were going to do all that today and then go visit my mom and bring my stepdad and my mom's sister-in-law. Does that make her my aunt? I guess. My mom's sister-in-law and my stepdad were going to also come with us to go see my mother. Well, apparently somebody farted in the DCA airport. Then it was reported to be suspicious fumes. And then they like made every single flight in DCA just like be on standby in case it was like terrorism. Child, it could have been gas from what I'm hearing. Somebody pooted and they canceled all the flights. That's how my brain remembers what happened. And so suddenly they are deboarding her. And when they finally realized that the smell, right? The bionic fart or whatever the fuck happened in DCA. I'm not making light of it. Nobody died, so I'm not being crude. Whatever that funky smell was, guys, everything got ruined. Everything got derailed this weekend because of a funky smell. Now, I'm 15 minutes late because I had to shower and put on my smell goods before I could even come online. So who am I to judge people for not having a capacity for funky smells? I get it, right? I understand that a smell could shut me down. However, you got to make all the planes stop because somebody smelled something. So all the planes stopped. By the time they realized the funky smell is not an issue, they had outlived or lasted the legal amount of time that a flight crew can be allowed to be on shift. Because, if you have pilots who work in 36-hour shifts, people are going to die because they're going to fall asleep, right? So there's a line of how many hours pilots and crew can work. When they finally figured out the smell wasn't nothing serious, now we hitting the deadline for the pilots to have to go home. So my sister's on the flight, been sitting there all night. I passed out at 8 p.m. last night, but was waking up in hour intervals to keep, because, it's only an hour flight from DC to Boston area. And so I keep waking up, waiting for her to say I'm on the flight. I wake up at midnight and I haven't gotten an update. So I was like, oh no, what happened? Because I watch a lot of Netflix. So I got nervous. Well, child, she's on the flight and they finally are cleared. And she says the pilot had to get off and say, I'm off. If I had to sit there at the airport for 4 or 5 hours and just when everything is okay for me to go somewhere that's only an hour flight away, the pilot puts on his jacket like Mr. Rogers and puts on his shoes and says, all right, then I'm going to see y'all tomorrow. Yeah, nah. I might have ended up on the no-fly list. God knows what I can and can't handle. What you mean you going home? Can you drop me off? The fuck? So I wake up at around midnight from a text from her that says they've given me a complimentary room at a hotel near the airport. They're telling me I can leave 5 p.m. tomorrow. I said, now, wait a minute, 5 p.m. There's a lot of times before midnight and 5 p.m. There's 9 a.m. There's noon. There's even 2 p.m. What you mean 5 fucking p.m.? We had a whole day planned today. Anyways, so I have to call my stepdad. My stepdad, by the way, hits me up at 3:30 like, so where are y'all? I thought we were going to go see your mom. So I say, hey, yo, her flight got delayed. So I'm going to just get you a car service. We're going to get you an Uber. Your Uber will take you to go see mom. And we'll all see mom together tomorrow. He's like, so you not coming? My nigga, what did I just say? You know when you're at the age where you realize that you are the parent and your parents are the children? We're there. I just told you a flight got delayed. Mel's not in town. I have her hotel key because I paid for both of our hotel rooms. So she literally cannot, it's under my name. She can't get here and get into her room. So I'm going to get a car service, right? This is going to be a pretty black SUV. It's going to take your ass and take you to see mommy. And tomorrow we'll all go together. So, you mean we're not going? Nigga, at this point, hey, welcome to the show where the first 15 minutes is us catching up. So I call him. I say, sir, the car is coming to pick you up in 2 minutes. Please be outside. Because you spelled thank you incorrectly. It's an $87 fare for me to get a car service to come take you there when I already paid for my sister to come take you. So I'm already paying double. Everybody else is fucking up. I'm the one paying for everything. Just get in the car. He's like, why aren't you coming? I said, because I don't control planes. My family knows that they need to stop when I start talking like that. I said, because I don't control planes. I have no control over the plane. Do you have any other question about how planes work? He's like, no. I said, okay. My stepdad knows at a certain point, if Blue is exhausted and breaks down and can't work, no, everybody's homeless, right? It behooves you to make my life easier. Yes? If I go night-night, we all fucked, yes? Hey, somebody said we love catch-up time. Do you? Because it's really me being excited. No, I'm excited. I'm going to take that back. So yeah, he got into the car and I'm about to do this live. I just said earlier, I fibbed a little bit. I said earlier that I'm running late because I had to take a shower. That's only about 7 minutes of this because I wasn't really going to run that late. What really made me late is before I was about to jump in the shower, right? I get a text from him saying, hey, make Uber come back. Because my stepdad texts as if English is his second language because it is. I said, what you mean make the Uber come back? I lose something. Make Uber come back. It was 4:50. I'm about to go live at 5:15. So I text, well, what did you leave in the Uber? I'm about to start work. Can you give me all the details at once? Because I lose something, call Uber. Is okay. So I call him and say, hey, at this point, I'm doing the polite voice you do. You know when customer service is about sick of your shit, but they trying to keep their job. I said, hey. What you lose in the Uber, friend? What you lose in the Uber? You're a 69-year-old man. What did you lose in the Uber? Actually, no, I think he's in his early 70s now. He said, the food I make for your mother. I said, well, everybody's going hungry. You have you a good night. I can do so much for you. I can't make you remember to take. You left a whole bag of food. I said, I'm sorry, but I know what it's like to lose something and how it's in a whole like hour or two to call the Uber driver, make them bring him back, pay a $20 fee. They serve food at the hospital when my mother gets her dialysis. She gonna have to eat hospital food today because the fuck, I ain't got it. The griot, the rice and peas. Well, maybe next time. You know what? And I thought to myself, good. This is how you remember to stop being a fucking child. You are 70. So this is a great segue. As someone who has to spend my days and nights taking care of a 70-year-old man, because my mother spoiled him and he doesn't know how to take care of himself because he thought she would take care of him until she died and he died. And surprise, everybody's alive and it's on me, right? I have very sincere thoughts about age gap relationships because I feel like I know what it's like to be in one. I know what it's like to date a 70-year-old man. I feel like taking care of my stepdad gives me a very clear glimpse. Mind you, the age difference is about what we're about to talk about and what happens in the show. Y'all like that segue? Y'all like that? I just heard it myself, right? So I'm just like, I would never go on a reality show and sign up to be with a nigga your age. Because men your age have been handicapped by the women in society that coddled them to think that their only value was provision and everything else from feeding themselves to wiping themselves back to front depends on the woman in your life, right? So I know that age demographic. I know how helpless they are because they were told their wives would take care of them. That's why men go up in age and live longer when they're with women, and women statistically lose about 7 years. I feel like I almost lost 7 years. If I didn't know how to gently hang up a phone, sometimes he'll be talking and I'll be like, and I'll just gently hang up the phone. I ain't got it, sir. I didn't choose you. You're not my man. I inherited you from my mother. You came with the house. Love him so much. Love him so much. I love this man. And I'm frustrated. Those two things can coexist. Yes, guys, weaponized incompetence. So having to deal with my stepdad, not knowing how to listen, and then getting a fancy Uber ride to a location that he technically at his age should figure out how to get to on his own, and then leaving all the food that, mind you, the food that he left, he didn't even cook it. His sister did. His sister took a bus from New York and cooked a home-cooked meal for her sister-in-law, my mother, and his only job was to remember to take it out of the car. So I'm the one booking everything and paying the mortgage. She's cooking all the food. Your only job is to take the bag out the car. Call Uber, leave something behind. Nigga, oh well. I love my mother. I'll bring her some ice cream tomorrow. She loves strawberry ice cream, but I'm not. So yeah, guys, it's giving a big note. Also, surprise, I had a discernment conversation with myself. You know, for those of you who are following me on YouTube, shout out to the followers and the members especially. I was going to tell the story of who I know from this show because the person I know from the show, the fact that I watched all 4 or 5, whatever this first batch of episodes is, right? How do you forget food? How do you forget? I will say the car ride is about 45 minutes. He probably fell asleep and then woke up to his sister yanking him awake and just skirted out the car, not thinking about, adulting. But the person that I know from the show, for me to tell the story time of the person I know from the show, I would have to say things that I'm actually not sure I want to say. So guys, surprise, surprise. I'm going to try to get through this live as quickly as possible, maybe in an hour. Mel's flight lands in about an hour. So I'm going to try to do this live about Age of Attraction in an hour. And then we're going to switch to a members only live when I tell you who I know from the show and how I know them. I'm not even going to use the pronouns. I know someone from the show. And the way I know them is tied to too many. I don't even want to say that much. The way that I know the person from the show The fact that I watched all of the episodes before I realized how I knew him is crazy. Ooh, sorry, I used the pronoun. It's one of the guys. But yeah, so we're gonna, yes, members rise. We're about to have surprise. We're about to have members only live right after this live. So let's get through this live so I can spill the tea on how I know one of these men. And also too, I want to take my sister to go see Scream because I love the Scream franchise. And me and Jeff used to always see the Scream franchise together. But since we're not friends no more, I need new people to watch Scream with. So my sister, who's getting off of a flight after a 24-hour delay. There we go. What? I use my teeth. I'm feral. My sister is being dragged to the movies with me because to me, movies are a love language. And I love Scream. Yeah, I love thrillers from the 90s and early 2000s. All right, so let's get through this. Let's talk about this. I actually was not going to, let me make sure the movie's even playing at the time that I think. I was actually not even going to do this live because I was tired and the show kind of creeped me out. But again, you guys harassed me. I was harassed into doing this. You guys, we have to find another way for y'all to get me to do a show. Because when y'all ask me to do a show and I say no, y'all just keep asking. Y'all just keep asking. Okay. So at some point, you're going to see Mel drag her exhausted body across this threshold to get her hotel key. And as I need to make sure, all right, which theater? I have a theater that I like to go to. Yes, guys, the show started in about a minute. If you are new here, the first 15 to 20 minutes is always me kikiing, us talking, all the good stuff, and then we start the show. Before you say, oh God, when we do start talking about the show, look at the fucking timestamp. If you're watching right now, please look at the timestamp. Shout out to the new members because this story was not on my list for my story series. Boston, there we go. What are the movie theaters in Boston? I would not be telling you which movie theater because some of y'all are on some weird shit. Speaking of people being on some weird shit, last thing before we actually start the show. Somebody said, I went to go see Hoopers. I liked it a lot. Oh, I've never heard of that one. Interesting. I was at breakfast this morning at the hotel. Oh, Hoppers. I see it right here. Oh, it's a cartoon. That's fun. 7:15 or 10:30. Fuck. Am I going to be able to convince her to go see something at 10:30? What if I offer her to pay for all her food? I'm going to offer to pay for all her food. Yeah, I'm going to use food to bribe her. 10:30 means that we can leave here at 9:45 and she gets to shower and take a nap. And then I'm going to buy her a bunch of food and alcohol. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just bribe her. She an Aries, child. All right, guys. So let's talk about the show. So we get to the part where I talk about the nigga that I know from the show. All right, let's get into it.
Finished episode 1 of Age of Attraction, and I'm cringing. On the other hand, it's kind of like a...
First of all, before we get started, I chose this video because it's a great encapsulation because you guys know I like to level set. We're starting at the 18-minute mark, okay? So for those who are doing timestamps for us, we're starting the review at the 18-minute mark. I picked this video because it's a great encapsulation and overview for those of you who don't know a lot about the show. Here's the thing, though. This is clearly AI. Y'all know I don't even believe in ChatGPT. They have literally said millions of times the easiest way to help defund Trump and his cronies is to stop using ChatGPT. The easiest way to take a small stand against what's happening in the world is to stop using ChatGPT. And yet y'all are hooked. Y'all are hooked. That's not the only reason I'm doing it. I also think as somebody who's spiritually inclined, I keep getting messages that ChatGPT is evil and will be used for things that surpass what regular surveillance is doing. So I'm being spiritually and civically led to not use ChatGPT. But if I can't stand ChatGPT, you can just guess what I think about AI making content for people. Let's watch this AI person.
Car crash I cannot stop watching, and maybe it's sweet? If you're unfamiliar, this is Netflix's new dating show where the entire premise is that age is hidden, no one can ask. They can date everyone, they connect, they get invested, and after they decide to commit, they can reveal their ages. If they're still into each other, they move in together and give it a try in the real.
So you're in the show with a bunch of young people and old people are mixing together dating. I have one plot hole in the show that already makes me call bullshit on the premise. I do believe the producers had some influence because the show is supposed to be ageless, yes? Which means, listen to me here. I've heard nobody else mention this. If the show was actually ageless, why is it that nobody in the same age range is attracted to each other? Why is it that none of the men in their 30s are attracted to women in their 30s, and it seems like all the old people are intentionally dating young people, and all the young people are intentionally dating old people. Why did we not see a single couple where there's only like a 3 or 4 age difference? Why is it everybody dating their daddy or their daughter? That feels like producer intervention. Because I saw so many people of the same age group who seemed compatible, who we never start talking to each other. I find that suspicious. You don't find that suspicious? I almost feel like the producers heavily incentivize them to not date anybody who they think is their age. It feels like a deep statistical and psychological improbability that in a room full of attractive men, some of which look like they're in my age group, I would only want Papa, can you hear me? So I'm already calling bullshit. But let's continue.
Real world. But listen, some of these people look so young. At one point, Libby was talking to...
Despite her trying to do her big girl stance, that looks like a child. This young lady looks like she's trying to pledge for a sorority freshman year. You trying to tell me of all the attractive men in their 20s and 30s, early 30s and later 20s, that she didn't find none of them Negroes attractive? She looks like a live action doll from the Babysitters Club. Shout out to people from the early 2000s and late 90s, you know what I'm talking about. This is a child, y'all. I know that she has a little John Bonet stance, but this is a child, okay? And we know, respectfully, white cracks easily. White women don't look like this by the time they're 40. So I know she's in her 20s.
Either David or Len. I don't have everyone straight yet.
Look at these men. Oh my God. I'm so sorry. This might take longer than I think because I actually am beside myself. Look at the men. Look at the men. Look at the men. Does this not look like page 5 of Pornhub? Oh no, I forgot something. I have to go back to the house where I was babysitting to go pick it up, even though the son and the daughter are gone and it's just the dad at home. Oh no, I dropped something in my cutoff shorts. In the words of Gina Rodriguez, I got the heebie-jeebies. Okay, y'all remember when Gina got canceled because she said niggas give her the heebie-jeebies, but she's not a nigga, so she couldn't say it. Yeah, I'm getting the heebie-jeebies. Y'all. And this is just the intro. And I promise you, watching the show, I didn't feel any less icky. Okay.
Audibly said to my television, girl, that could be your dad. These men have surely been paying their taxes since like 85 at least. Now don't...
Somebody said Libby is 22 cosplaying as a teen. 22 is a teen. Oh, that's cute. No, there's not a huge difference between being 18 and 22, except that you might have a phone bill. She's not cosplaying. A 22-year-old act like a teenager to adults is just called being 22. She's not cosplaying.
Get me wrong, I am not against adult appropriate age gaps. Some of these people actually...
By the way, can we go back a little bit to this motherfucker? Because hold on for a second. Let's go back to this real quick.
85 at least? Now, don't get me wrong. I am not against adult...
Somebody, I didn't include the video because I didn't want it to be too long, but somebody said that this black man over here, and y'all know on Netflix, it's very rare that you find a black man who's actually attracted to black women. All the producers have said from all the shows that it's almost impossible to find, from Married at First Sight to Love is Blind. They've all said that black men who want to date black women don't go on reality TV most of the time. And so unless you're on OWN, where the whole cast is black because Oprah said so, most of these shows, you're not going to see a black man with a black woman, right? And this issue of black men on reality TV not wanting to date black women is why they had to spoon feed you Vic and Christine as plants. Because if we put Vic and Christine in the show and we have the soft-spoken dreadlock man who can, pontificate his way into y'all not realizing he has a bunny fetish. If we have a Vic and Christine, we're spoon feeding the audience to actually like black men who only date white women so that they're not noticing there's a big disparity in the alternative. You already know how I feel about Vic and Christine and how they are the scheme that tossed it up to sell some of this bullshit. And watching Black women rooting for their own erasure. I'm rooting for Vic and Christine. Yes, I'm rooting to be replaced by white women because they don't want us. I'm rooting for them. Okay. We did a whole video on that, so let me not go on a tangent. So already, when I saw this man who looks like Pharrell and 50 Cent had an old, young face-tuned baby, right? If you took an AI picture of Pharrell and an AI picture of 50 Cent and you smushed it together, that's this nigga. Oh no, you smushed it together and then put a really thick layer of Facetune. That's him. Somebody pointed out, because I was like, is anybody else think his face feels off? Somebody said, you can tell he had plastic surgery procedures that tightened everything but the middle. So that's why it looks like an old nigga's middle with a tight edge. And I said, bitch, I think you cracked the code. If you look away from the edges of his face where the nipping and the tucking happened, the entire middle says 70-year-old man. Like the entire middle is an old man with the young man's edges. It's very bizarre. It's like when you get not a fortune cookie. When you get a chocolate chip cookie, but you put the wrong degrees in the oven, so the edges are burnt, but the middle is so soft. He looks like a boneless chocolate chip cookie to me. A boneless chocolate chip cookie that still ended up being burnt on the edges. Just tight. I'm not here to roast this man. I'm just very, very confused. I am confusion looking at his face. Is anybody else seeing him? Am I crazy? And I'm not shaming him. I'm actually had to work out what I was looking at. My autistic brain was like, what's this? Anyways, he found him a young white girl. Okay, let's continue.
Appropriate age gaps. Some of these people actually seem quite lovely. For example, and spoiler coming, Teresa and John.
Another issue with this show. None of y'all look good for your age. Everybody looks their age or older. I'm sorry. No, nobody looks. When I saw this lady, I said, ooh, look at that 50-something-year-old MILF. And so when she revealed, I'm a 50-something-year-old MILF, yeah, bitch, like, yeah, we know. He didn't even have a reaction. He was like, yeah, I kind of figured that. She's very attractive. She looks 54. What is the point of it being a blind age dating show if all you motherfuckers look your age? Look, I think the premise is bullshit, but if you're going to do some bullshit, at least do the bullshit. Everybody looks their age or older. His whole storyline is we all thought he was 38 and he's 27. What? So you're finding a bunch of boomers who look their age to date Gen Zers who are aging like milk? Is that the premise? Is that how you pitched it? So imagine Gen Z, no moisturizer. Boomers, adequate. Let's make them all hunch. Kiss like two Barbie dolls. Like what? I think the show is bad for my nerves. Can I be honest? Can I be honest? The show, the entire time I was watching the show, I felt like I was having a small meltdown. And as I'm like, I can't watch any more of this. I'm getting tagged. Blue, have you seen Age of Attraction? Blue, can you watch Age of Attraction? Blue, please watch Age of Attraction. This might be my second live of the month that I'm doing under duress. Y'all know what happens when I do lives under duress. This real estate agent looking man, if I didn't know how to use condoms as an early teen, I could have been his mother. His very young mother, but his mother nonetheless. Like, what is happening? She is 54. Her son is 29. Her man looks almost 40, but is only 27. Y'all couldn't have done like a cross promotion with Oil of Olay or something and pick people who... Y'all, okay, I'm sorry. We're only about 1.5 minutes into this 30-minute montage, so I actually need to stop. I'm going to let this play. I'm offended. And when I get offended, I get offended. Let me try to hush and let this robot tell you the rest of the thing about the show.
They're already obsessed with each other. The vibe is giving. Aaron Taylor Johnson and his wife, where the internet still regularly asks, is that his mom? But it works for them. Libby now seems to be vibing with Andrew, who I assure you is older than he looks.
Andrew looks like he is 39. I think Andrew is 39. Nobody looks good. Like, everybody looks good. Nobody looks other than their age, better than their age. So they all look good. I don't think any of these people are ugly. Not even boneless cookie face, right? I don't think any of them are unattractive. I just think if the whole premise is ageism and us spoon feeding pedophilia to the American public, could you like at least pretend that these young girls don't realize that they're about to be invited to the island? Could you at least pretend?
Then we have Vanelle, who has gotten herself into a little love.
I thought she was older than she is. I know black don't crack, but it does. I think sometimes when young girls get Botox early, it actually makes them look reminiscent of 40-something-year-old women who get their Botox done at all. And so I think she might have had Botox, and so her Botox immediately read to me as 37. I think that's what it is. She's a beautiful girl. Vanelle, if you see this, I think you're a beautiful girl. I thought that you were 37. Yes? Because everybody I know looks like you at 37. You are 27. Yikes. I'm not going to say I thought we were peers, but I thought we could have gone to high school during the same era, at least. Yeah. That's all I got on that. I thought you were 37. You're an attractive woman. I have nothing ill to say of your face. I think you are physically fit. I think you have a great personality. I just thought you were close. The show is testing me, y'all. Okay. I said I was going to get through it and I haven't. I lied. I'm so sorry. Okay. This time I'm going to try to let the robot finish talking. I swear to God. Right. Somebody said she looks at least 30. I'm sorry. I would have bet my savings account that there was a 3 in front of her age. When she said 27, I said, let me see your license. Funny enough, I wasn't shocked by her nigga. I knew he was old. I just thought that their age gap was significantly smaller.
Triangle because both Jorge and Justin S are pulling for her. I think at this point I'm pulling for Justin. Meanwhile,
No, hold on. Shit. Did you see who she's in a love triangle with? Hold on. Let's do that again.
Who has gotten herself into a little love triangle because both Jorge and Justin S.
This 27. I'm not do 27 in air quotes because she is 27. Blue, stop that. Sorry. This 27-year-old is in a love triangle with what at first blush I would think was a sexy 46-year-old man who's going to age into Steve Carell in 15 years and a hot 55-year-old who used to run the streets with Method Man. My first thought was he's a 55-year-old a la Method Man who works out and got strong, hard titties and a good back, although he got to put some ointment on it at night because his age is still his age. And he's 47 and a divorcee. And she's 37. So in my mind, I'm thinking a 37-year-old woman has a 47-year-old white man and a 55-year-old cat daddy from the streets. That's what I'm thinking is happening. Yeah? Apparently, I was close, but he's 60. And she's only 27. We never got to figure out the white man's age because she got rid of him. Because she got love bombed by Method Man's elder. What did I say? Thank you, guys. Everybody's attractive. This is not about people being attractive. This is about pedophilia. Yeah? Okay. I just want to make sure I keep on saying
are pulling for her. I think at this point I'm pulling for Justin. Meanwhile, Tristan appears to literally be searching for a mother figure. I actually don't know how else to explain that energy. Anyway, I'm only this one episode in, so I need to know.
White man was 44? Okay, so I was close. I guess 47. I was only 3. Like I said, nobody looks better than their age, but they're all attractive. So I thought 47, he's 44. It's the salt and pepper. Had he had less salt and pepper, I might have guessed 40. Wait, he's 44? He's more my peer than she is? Oh, my God. Oh, mon Dieu. And for the lady, may I suggest moisturizer and less Botox? Let me just hit play.
Are you watching this? Can we chat about it? I'm obviously watching, so. let me know.
Netflix, can you please stop giving us reality dating shows where people are withholding information from the other person? In case you guys missed it, the newest dating show that's set to hit Netflix a week from now is called Age of Attraction, hosted by none other than Nick and Natalie Vial from the Vial Files podcast. Now, if you are a Vial Files listener, then you know that Nick and Natalie have an age gap and they've always been so transparent.
If Justin's 43, then he's 44 now because all the Netflix shows are done on a 1 year delay. So he's 44. Okay, it's good to know.
And open and honest about it, and they talk about it very naturally, and they try to break that stigma of age gaps in relationships.
No offense to this young lady. She sounds stupid. What you mean break the stigma of age gap relationships? No, let's keep the stigma. I think in the wake of the Epstein files, we should not break in the stigma of predatory old men going after 20-year-old girls. No, let's not break that stigma. What the fuck are you talking about? That's not a stigma. That's just called dignity. No, I want it to always be gross for 60-year-old men to be dating 20-year-old girls. Y'all just be saying anything, huh? We need to break the stigma of old men who want 19-year-olds. Why? That's not a stigma. That is not a stigma. That is community activism. The fuck? If age ain't the number, then why isn't it 40-year-olds dating 60-year-olds? Why is it 60-year-olds dating 20-year-olds? Because developmentally speaking, there's a way that you can break the stigma of age gap relationship, also taking the fact that people's frontal lobes have to fully congeal first. And y'all know that frontal lobes usually congeal around 26, but check it, if you're neurodivergent, which can be acquired through the trauma of living in a world that's burning, people who have any form of neurodivergence, sometimes their brains don't fully develop till 36. So why not just pick up people who are 35 and above, who are all adults in every sense of the word? Why is age a number only something that we say when there's literal biological undercooked cookies, right? Boneless cookies. Everybody's a boneless cookie now. I thought it was just old Scarface, but it's everybody, right? Why are we picking people who still have to have their parents as co-signers on their car insurance? Because that doesn't end until 26, because frontal lobe. Why is it people who cannot get their own car insurance without a co-signer being put on a show with niggas who literally have an AARP card? Literally, not hyperbolic, literal. You literally need your daddy to sign for your insurance. You're under your father's health insurance and car insurance while dating a man who has an AARP card. But go off, sis. Talk about how Nick and Natalie are removing stigma.
The difference between them and this show is that Nick did not, from my understanding and from what they've shared, Nick never hid his age from Natalie. This is essentially like a Love is Blind, but instead of not seeing their appearance, you don't know their age. Is this like their way of saying they're phasing out Love is Blind and this is the next best thing?
Netflix was already dead ass wrong for that Age of Attraction show, but I just found out the host of it is worse than Nick and Vanessa on Love is Blind. Nick Vial and his wife.
Nick Vial is vile is a mantra that's been all over social media. For those who don't know about Nick Vial, he was once on The Bachelor, did some fuckboy shenanigans, and then a 20-year-old woman. I'll be nice. I wanted to call her a girl, but I'll be nice. She can almost drink. A young girl who was not old enough to drink slipped into Nick Vial's DMs when he was almost 40. She was about 20 and he was about 38, 39. And she slipped in his DMs and he said, oh no, I don't want to do this. But then ended up fucking her, put a baby in her and then married her. So apparently he worked through that, huh? Good old Nick, working against the stigma of basic fucking dignity. And so he impregnated his child bride, started a podcast with her where they have first dibs on interviewing every big reality star that comes out because he has The Bachelor, and The Bachelor is considered the apex of, mainstream reality shows. And through his reality show has repeatedly shown that he is anti-Black as fuck. Like he's the kind of person who'll be like, I don't believe Nick likes Olandria. I just don't see their chemistry, while saying, oh, Hood is so pretty. Why is everybody hating on her? He's one of those. He's one of those white men who everything he says is steeped under the premise that he can't believe that anybody wants to love a Black woman. So Nick Vial, right? And a pedophile of sorts, not pedophile, let me not call him that because legally I can't. So I take that back. He's not a pedophile. Mistake on my part. Can't call him a baby diddler either. That's also inappropriate. Fuck blutism. Think of a nice way to say that he's a nasty old man. Nick Vial, who doesn't have a problem dating women who are young enough to be his daughter, and married one, and made a child with one, and who has been known to be racially and culturally insensitive in every way imaginable, while having his child bride next to him saying, "You go, daddy." Him and her, they have a podcast that causes harm in the ecosystem, and now they're hosting the show about other horrible people who want to be just like them. I think I'm gonna stop there and just let her say it instead. I feel like I'm making it worse.
Are the host of Age of Attraction. I already wasn't gonna watch the show, and y'all, I know people are gonna watch to hate watch or whatever. We've got
Cradle Robber. Let's do that. Okay.
Oh my God. The seeing them as a host of that show told me everything I need to know.
Nick Viles is vile. And let's be very clear here. A grown man who's well into their 30s pursuing someone who is 19 is predatory behavior. It is. Let's just call a spade a spade. And Netflix giving these two a show about age gap dating only encourages predators to keep doing what they're doing.
Netflix not only giving them a show, but not delaying it in the wake of the Epstein files. Not delaying it, even in the wake of the Epstein files. Even Tyra knew to re-edit the SA scene, the sexual assault scene from Top Model, when Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake had the Super Bowl scandal, and she realized, hey, because Janet's left teat was all over the TV and she's being blacklisted, maybe we should pull back on the editing of this sex crime that allegedly happened under our watch, right? Even fucking Tyra made concessions for the times. Not much, but a little bit. You mean to tell me that something as big as the Netflix ecosystem did not see any conflict of interest or, again, dignity in putting out the John Benet Ramsey dating show after we found out that they were eating babies and calling them cream cheese? And not only did you not pull it back, you intentionally aired it on the heels of the Love is Blind, your biggest franchise's a reunion special, because you knew there'd be a crossover of people who are watching Netflix for Love is Blind to now watch the PDA files, what the kids call it, so that they don't get a strike, right? Get it? PDA file. Sorry, PDF file. Is that what you call it? Yes, PDF file. Yeah, guys, I wonder if I'm going to be able to finish this live. Because I think my disgust is like kind of like sidetracking me. Yo, I'm actually so fucking disgusted. I'm disgusted by this show. I'm disgusted that I know somebody on the show had dinner with this person. Thought they were like, for those who are coming in late, we're going to be doing a members only live about who I know from the show and how we met, because y'all can already see how I'm acting around Gen Pop. Imagine what I really have to say. So for the sake of just protecting everybody involved, we're going to do a story time right after this about who I know from the show and how.
It's trifling. It's disgusting, actually. And I don't care what Natalie says. She's talking about I was 21 when we started dating. It doesn't matter if you were 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. The truth of the matter is the young person's brain does not fully develop until you're 25, 26 years old. And it's the frontal lobe, the decision making. So you know what that makes? Anyone who's above that age, especially a grown man who's pushing 40, to date someone under that age, it's a perfect time and priming them for manipulation and grooming. And that's why people say it is very different when it's a 30-year-old dating a 50-year-old versus a 19-year-old dating a 40-year-old.
Literally.
Very, very different.
Not a matter of opinion, just a matter of neurological development. Argue with God. Not a matter of opinion, just a matter of science.
And I did do a quick Google, so y'all can fact check me too, because I didn't do too much digging, but it said that Nick Viall and Natalie met when Natalie slid into his DMs in 2019. She's apparently 27 years old now. The math ain't mathing. And y'all can argue with me till you're blue in the face until thy kingdom come. But that will never, ever, 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 ever be okay with me. Are y'all cool?
Age of Attraction on Netflix. Oh my god. I'm only on episode 1, but I have thoughts. The young guy on there, he looks a little wacko and he does real estate. He said, if a person is not hotter than my mom, I cannot be with them.
Oh yeah, so we thought that being a PDF file was bad enough. There are now people with Oedipus complexes talking about, my mom is hot and she's 43, so any woman I see on the show better be as hot as my mom. What do you mean incest has entered the chat? Where are we? Sorry, I was just having a talk about God, about if I could still do this and still go to heaven. What do you mean your litmus? That's how I know the producers did something nasty. Because why are you coming on the show assuming that you'll only be attracted to women who are old, at your mother's age? Him saying that to me is an admission that the producers told them that they could only date people who are clearly older than them or young or clearly younger than them. Because why are you walking in assuming that only the older women are going to be attractive? Libby's 22 and she's just as cute as the old bitches you were trying to talk to.
What? Hotter than your mom? What? You just said that on Never mind. Next. And enough.
Not Flowers in the Attic. I didn't expect VC Andrews to get a shout out, but here we are, right? Shout out to VC Andrews. Them books were depraved. The fact that we read VC Andrews books explains a lot about what's wrong with us.
The thing is, some of the ages, I think one got revealed was like the guy was 27 and the woman was 54, which while everything looks good and fine now.
Those who are not good at math, 27 times 2 is 54. So 2 of his lives equal 1 of hers. And 1 of his life is still 2 years less than her son. Just math. Okay.
Now, what's going to happen when he's 54? So 20, 30, 40, 50. So that's like 30. Am I doing math correctly? So he'll be 40 and she'll be 50, 60, 70s. Is the attraction still going to be there? Say if you're in your 40s, 50s, and she's pushing her 70s? I don't know.
Yeah. All right, y'all. So how are we feeling about these two? We have...
Again, am I crazy? Or would I believe it if she's introduced him as her son? I'd be like, wow, you have a hot mom. I would believe it, though. To me, she was anywhere between 47 and 55, which is the range that she looks and the range that she is. I thought he was older, right? I thought he was older, and it bought her some grace, but he's much younger than
Teresa, who is 54, and we have John, who is 27. Oof. Now, I knew clearly that Teresa was older, and John knew it as well, and he said he prefers older women. That's his thing, right? And when she told him his age, I didn't see him backing down at all. But when, of course, he told her his age, then she was like, oh my God, because true enough, she does have an older son, a son that's older than John here. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like her oldest son is 29. You have a 29, a 25, and a 22-year-old. This could actually be your kid. This could be your kid, Teresa. And to think, like, so far, their chemistry seems the most compatible, honestly. But 27-year.
Sorry, your 40s going into your 50s is your sexual prime. As somebody who has now hit that 4th decade, I'm feral. So them being sexually compatible does not mean, oh, this is okay. It just means that bitches be horny after 40. And oh my God, in the show, they have the camera crew filming their shut bedroom door, but the mics are still on in the bedroom. And in the bedroom, she's like, what do you want? And she's like, I want you, daddy. And then all you can hear is macaroni and cheese. Wop, wop, wop. Y'all know that noise. Y'all know that macaroni noise. Oh my God, put it in. And I'm on my couch like, oh my God, I don't want to watch her fuck her son's friend. What is, y'all? If you have watched Age of Attraction, you might be entitled to some compensation. I'm not a litigious bitch, but I want to sue somebody. And it kept happening. And at one point in the morning, she had feedback. She was like, you know, you could take your time, right? He's like, yeah, give me a second. I'm figuring it out. Oh, yeah. All right, let's get through this.
Age gap. And you have a son that's older. And we said, I mean, those are her kids. They're not my kids. I mean, they would be technically ours if we got married, but those are basically her kids. So I'm like, whew. And I'm thinking, like, John, are you going to want kids down the line? Or I can't remember if he said he wanted.
Him saying that he doesn't care about wanting kids is a very 27-year-old thing to say. I didn't give a fuck about anything when I was 27. I was like, yeah, you don't want kids? I don't want kids. But you get to an age, like most men that I know, by the time they reach their 40s, they're like, you know what? Now that I've done all the things, I actually do want kids. You know what I mean? So I believe that he believes that he does not want kids at 27. I also believe that I don't believe anybody at 27 about most things. Myself included. We just be saying, we be doing shit for the plot at 27. And guess what? That's appropriate. It's appropriate to do shit for the plot at 27. At 54, though, you definitely ain't got no eggs left. I'm all for mature pregnancies. Okay, if I pop up with a fucking toddler at 50, nobody's gonna be surprised. Okay, nobody's gonna be surprised. And though, even I understand by 54, after you got 3 kids already, you're waiting to be a grandma. And I also think it's unfair for a 55-year-old to be trying to have a baby. I think it's unfair. I think once you hit 50, and that's pushing it. Most people say 40. I'm being nice. Once you hit 50, it's okay to be like, you know what, maybe next lifetime. But she already has 3 kids, so she's good.
Or if it didn't matter, because clearly if he married Teresa, I'm sure she wouldn't even want to start over, even if she did a surrogate or adoption or whatever the case may be, when you have kids that are already in their 20s and grown and she's able to travel and live and all of that. And he's
also wondering her kids are 22, 27, and 29. Just want to give you a heads up.
Just getting started. You're 27. You're just getting your feet wet in life. I don't know. It's just so big. That's just so big. I don't know.
Y'all, this is really giving Love is Blind, Sugar Daddy, and Cougar edition.
I agree.
Hey, date who do you want to date? I'm just saying that they know exactly what they're doing.
Am I the only one that feels like Age of Attraction? Let me pause for Ngully. Hold on.
And by the way, I love the women who are calling this out. There are so many women, because God forbid it be the men who are like, this is gross. They're like, oh yeah, get it where you can, Papa. But there are so many women who are like, yeah, no, we know it's set up when we see one.
Am I the only one that feels like Age of Attraction, the new Netflix show, is at the very least?
Say it, sis. You see how she's trying to figure out how to say it gently? Clearly, I didn't have that issue. But watch her try to figure out how to say the obvious.
The timing is odd, considering the Epstein of it all.
Age of Attraction is trying to normalize pedophilia. It's like microdosing pedophilia for you all.
I think that is the bio, the log line of the show. Age of Attraction, Netflix's newest series that seeks to microdose pedophilia. Sorry, PDF files. Yeah?
Or pedophilia light. It is propaganda. It is disgusting.
It is disgusting.
And do not watch it. Do not watch it. Do not allow.
When she says do not watch it, you realize that there are coming people who are watching this live, who are hearing all these spoilers and seeing my palpable disgust and will watch it because of that. Can we all be honest?
Media to start trying to normalize these storylines of 6-year-olds and 20-year-olds or 40-year-old men and 22-year-old, 21-year-old women.
Girl, it's weird.
Yes.
I watched one episode of it and I was like, not y'all trying to normalize.
Yeah.
Not y'all trying to normalize. This is a scheme that Todd came up with to come to us with the bullshit. It's weird. It's fucking weird. It's weird. It's weird.
Compatibility has no age.
Oh, this is the 19-year-old who slipped into his DMs when he was almost 40. We've watched Nick be a horrible, misogynistic, overbearing partner to women his own age, and we're supposed to believe that somehow he figured out how to be healthy with someone young enough to be his daughter, and that there's no disparity as far as their development or any abuse of power happening. We're supposed to believe that, even though we know what he looks like, dating women his actual own age who have fully congealed frontal lobes. We're supposed to believe that a man that can't be healthy with his peers has suddenly stopped being a control freak with someone who's young enough to be his daughter. That's what we're supposed to believe, right, Natalie? Okay.
You know, it's like if you have chemistry and you're compatible and you have things in common and you get along, it's like it's gonna work.
And at first I wasn't gonna watch it because I do 100% believe that age does matter in a relationship, especially if the age gap is big or if their partner is the same age as their kid. But it has been very entertaining so far. Now, throughout the first 5 episodes, we've already got some couples and they revealed their ages, but I don't think any of them are gonna work out.
No.
Whether because of their age gap, kids, or public perception, I don't think they're gonna last. Now, the first couple to call it quits was Vanilla and Jorge, and it's funny because it wasn't because of age, even though she's 27 and he's 60. It was more so because of character differences and lack of honesty. Because homegirl is celibate, and she told him that at the promise ceremony, and he seemed to be okay with it then, but then he isn't now. And then also, he waited to tell her that he had kids until way after their promise ceremony, which she didn't have.
So here's the thing. There's a promise ceremony where you and your elder or you and your child go to find out if you want to do life together. And the whole point is you give each other promise rings as a commitment to seeing the relationship through before telling age. So think about it. Old men giving promise rings to young girls before young girls are being equipped with the right amount of information to give informed consent. We have no, first of all, the promise rings is very Christian coded, very white nationalist Christian coded. The lack of informed consent is very white nationalist Christian coded. So white nationalism, right? Religious dogma meant to normalize misogyny against young girls, and the lack of the intentional removal of informed consent. This is worse than Love is Blind, my love. This is way worse than Love is Blind. And Love is Blind, most people are within 5 years of each other. This is way worse than Love is Blind. And that's saying a lot. This is way more insidious than Love is Blind. Love is Blind is meant to just be a psychologically damaging clusterfuck, which is called reality TV. Reality TV in general is a psychologically damaging clusterfuck. Bridget still has PTSD from her Love and Hip Hop days, right? I have so many friends who are in the reality space and they all have some form of PTSD. This is not regular reality show. This is insidious propaganda intentionally meant to normalize the removal of informed consent and the presence of older men having predatory relationships with younger women and older women having predatory relationships with younger men who are not allowed to make choices for themselves and instead stoke the flames of abuse of power. These are abuses of power that we are watching. And right now I'm showing the women who have sense, who are calling bullshit. I'm going to also show the women who are not calling bullshit. I'm going to show the women who are on the predator side, because we need to have a conversation about why so many women, when they saw the 27-year-old show emotional intelligence and break up with a 60-year-old for being overbearing and trying to rob her of her free agency and her voice, I want to explain to you a lot of women who look like they have sense, black, white, and every race in between, were on his side. A lot of women were on Jorge's side when that 27-year-old girl showed more emotional intelligence in her half wig. By the way, baby, if you're going to wear a half wig on Netflix, I get it, okay? Sometimes you just don't have time to get a sew-in. But at least push it back and have your real hair showing a little bit in the front so we can pretend it's yours. Let us pretend. The white folks don't know that's a half wig, but you can't wear it like it just came out the pack. It can't be down here. Just tug it a little bit. Sorry, that really bothered me. Okay, let's just play a video. Sorry.
Not that big of an issue with, but I saw it as a red flag. And then there was a pretty big argument they had because a random guy approached him on the street with the weapon in his hand. And I actually have to agree with Jorge on the situation because
you actually have to agree with Jorge on the situation. So let's talk about the situation real quick. We're gonna watch a video. Somebody said 25 is when the brain is formed. 25/26, unless you're neurodivergent, then it's actually 35/36. They say people with ADHD, their brain can take an extra decade to congeal or properly formed because they're neurodivergent. Divergent means not typical, not the norm. So yes, 26 to 36 is when your brain is braining. Yeah? Okay. So this young lady just said, I agree with Jorge on this. What is she agreeing with Jorge on? I have a video that's going to show it. So I'm actually going to hold off on showing the video. But when we get to the part, please hold on to this. She said, I actually agree with Jorge on this. This is a sentiment. This is actually the sentiment that I heard that made me realize there was some educational merit. If you are a woman who has been agreeing with me this entire point, and yet now you're chewing on gristle at this point of contention because you too agreed with Jorge, I need you to understand that your desire to agree with Jorge is internalized misogyny, and we're going to educate you on why that is. Because y'all know I'm an emotional intelligence coach. For those of you who just walked in, hi, my name is Lucy Lusman. I know during the intro, an hour in is wild, crazy work, because we're sponsored by ADHD. I'm an emotional intelligence coach who specializes in self-mastery and ego death, particularly using pop culture and politics as a launch pad to show why EQ is important in everyday life and media. And I only do these reviews if I can find a teachable moment. I don't want to just be another talking head making noise to make noise, right? To me, the teachable moment, the thing that was like, oh, this is something that we can teach the audience is all the grown women who agree with Jorge. You're all wrong. Argue with your mother, but let's keep playing the video.
If a random guy approaches y'all with a weapon, you have to act accordingly. Like, you can't just be like, hey, can you please not like say.
The argument was that a man walked up to Jorge and Vernell. Even her name sounds old, child. V and Jorge were walking down the street apparently, and a man who had a weapon of some sort approached them, and Jorge went off on the nigga and scared him off. And Vernell said to him, I was uncomfortable seeing how that played out. Your demeanor made me uncomfortable. The first thing y'all are thinking, well, if you're in danger and your man keeps you safe, that's a good thing. This is not about keeping somebody safe, y'all. Y'all are being so myopic and shallow. It's not about keeping someone safe. It's about how you keep someone safe. I had a best friend growing up who I adored, and he had a lot of nice guy issues. You know those nice guys who bite their tongue because they're people pleasers, which means they can't tell the truth because they're always saying things to please people rather than being authentic and risking rejection. And because of that, he would never get mad because he was always trying to be liked. He always wanted to be a nice guy. He was a slave to being a nice guy. The first time that I saw him get mad at someone, and it was a woman, so that probably exacerbated it. The first time I saw him get mad at someone, even though he had a good reason to be mad, the way that he did it was so unhinged. It shook me. I couldn't talk to him for 2 days after seeing him like that because it made me realize how much anger and vitriol and darkness was living inside of him. So this thing of, well, if Jorge's protecting you, what's the issue? No, someone can protect you and still show you a side of them that scares the living fucking Jesus out of you. And especially if you're 27 and he's 60 and it's about to be your nigga. I was freaked out, and this was just my friend. Imagine seeing a 60-year-old man who you chose instead of the 40-year-old man who was also a cute cat daddy. You chose him because he was a smooth cat. You chose him because he was a Mac daddy. He was smooth, right? He was emotionally intelligent. Imagine you let your guard down with a man who is 33 years older than you because of his emotional regulation. And then you see him be deregulated while fighting off an assailant with a weapon. And you tell him, hey, babe, that entire scene freaked me out. And this is the part where Jorge completely lost me. And I know you bitches need to take my course because your emotional intelligence is in the fucking gutter. Rather than be the older, reasonable man that he purports to be and say, baby, I am so sorry that scared you. I felt like I did what needed to be done to protect us. I can see how me flying off the handle could freak you out because we just met 2 fucking weeks ago. So until you get to know me better, I'll be more mindful about how my aggression comes out. And I want to assure you that the aggression that I show towards them, I would never show towards you. If Jorge was who he said he was, he would be mortified that the woman that he wants to do life with was scared of him and would make sure that he clarified to her that she was safe in his presence. Yes? What did Jorge do instead? He lectured her like he was her father for 20 minutes and silenced her and scolded her like a grandpa. And while she watched this old nigga act like an old nigga, she said, oh, we not gonna work because you an old nigga. and you don't talk to me like I'm the woman that you want to do life with. You talk to me like I'm your grandchild. Yuck. Oh, we not going to work, baby. This is over. Y'all on his side? Are you mad? I was stunned by her emotional intelligence because most 27-year-olds, which I suspect is why he chose her, most 27-year-olds were like, I'm sorry, daddy. I was a little scared. This young lady advocated for herself, clocked that he does not know how to hold space for her, clocked that he had the lack of respect. Do you know how much lack of respect it takes to talk at someone? Do you know how much lack of respect it takes to talk at someone that you have scared, who you say you love at the beginning of a relationship when they don't even know you that well? The audacity it takes for you to be prioritizing your ego instead of their safe psychological safety during the honeymoon phase when you actually have incentive to be more mindful. If you're being this fucking condescending in the first 2 weeks, how the fuck are we going to do life together? That young lady ate with that, and y'all took his side. You old bitches took his side. As an old bitch too, I'm just saying, right? Someone said, oh, by the way, shout out to all the members who have joined. This is why I'm too woke, friend, that sometimes oversteps taking anything and everything too seriously at times, but it's because this is our reality. It's so fucking weird out here. Look, the woke friends are all getting apologies. I feel like there needs to be a happy woke friend day because all of us are fighting the urge to say I told you so. Every conspiracy theory y'all told us was weird, true. Every anti-black scheme meant to destroy us, true, right? Between the Epstein files and Project 25, y'all owe a bunch of us fruit baskets. If you have a woke friend who you thought was a crazy bitch up until 2024, send them a fruit basket. I feel like around November 6th, 2024, you all realized maybe we weren't crazy. Yeah? You owe them a fruit basket. But let's continue letting this lady be wrong about Jorge.
Say those things to us, and can you put the weapon down? No, you're gonna be like, hey bro, like, do you need that? And so from the get-go, I wish that she chose Justin. I mean, I don't know if they would have lasted, but she definitely would have had a better experience with him. And now for our next couple, Vanessa and Logan, they haven't broken up yet, but I guarantee you they will soon, because I learned from Love is Blind that if you have to beg a man to have sex with you, he doesn't really like you. And they did.
By the way, speaking of predatory, this little cougar here, this lady looked like her age. She looked like she was about 50. I think she said she was 40 something. Okay. She might have started Botox too early. She got mad that her youngin', her little 29-year-old, she's 29, he's 49. So this white lady is 49. So I'm guessing she's 50. I'm only off by like a couple months. And he's 29 and she's 49. Do you know she got mad that he wouldn't fuck on her? And then when she found out that the 54-year-old was getting guap macaroni and cheese, she got jealous of the 54-year-old who was getting her back blown out by a little jackrabbit young enough to be her son, and said, wait, girl, he fucked on you? What it look like? What it smell like? Paint me a picture. You know that scene from Love Jones when Nina is telling her best friend about his penis was talking to her, and she was like, girl, what did it say? And the best friend's eyes get all glazed over. This old hell hussy up here talking about what it smelled like, friend. Do it for the gram, because I didn't get no dick last night, and was angry. If my 29-year-old son was dating an elderly woman who was on television upset that he wouldn't smash on the first night and talking to other elderly women about how did you get him to pull his peen out because I want to get me some, everybody going to jail. And by everybody, I mean me. Where are your parents? This is a question I have. For the people, for the young people, for the children on the show, where are your parents? And do they know how to fight? My mother is 79 on dialysis. She might catch a wheelchair to the studio to shank one of y'all. For those of you who heard the story about the racist white lady who was trying to attack my mother at the nursing home and my mother hid a fork in her purse. It's hereditary. Okay. Vernell kept on saying, my daddy told me I couldn't bring home anybody more than 10 years older than me. Baby, I thought you were 10 years older than you. So confusion. But like, if you're 27, your daddy told you couldn't bring home nobody 37, and you about to bring him a peer? You about to bring him somebody who was 60? Maybe that's why her emotional intelligence skyrocketed. She probably heard her daddy's voice like, I'm going to shoot him. Vernell might have saved Jorge's life and broke up with him because she knew that she had some shooters at her house.
End up doing it, and I could tell that it was bad because afterwards she was like, oh, like, I wish it lasted longer. Now with this couple...
Oh, that's the one. Sorry, Macaroni and Cheese was... She's the one that when she finally got the 29-year-old to hunch on her because she was harassing him. Like, how come I ain't got no dick? Everybody else got some dick. I want some dick. After the old lady kept on begging for some dick, because that's not pathetic at all. After the elderly woman kept begging for some peen, and I'm saying elderly because you're acting like a dirty old bitch, not because you're 49, okay? You and I are not... Our age difference is not enough where I'm calling you that just based on numbers. I'm calling because of your lack of fucking decorum and just basic... Sorry. Anyways... when she finally harassed him into hunching on her, the man finished in 32 seconds. All you heard was, sorry about that. If you gotta beg a man to hunch on you because he didn't want to do it on his own, baby, I don't think I'll ever be desperate enough to beg for dick. Actually, let me take that back. If we're having sex and you have already proven that you want to swallow me whole and I'm asking you for more of what you've already happily given me, then I might beg for it because that's just sexy time. But to beg to see it at all, baby, yeah. Begging for dick on national TV is wild. Where are y'all's kids? I was just asking with your parents, if I ever saw... My mother is a cougar, okay? My stepdaddy is about 5 to 8 years younger than my mother is. We don't really know his age. I'm not even sure he knows at this point, okay? But my mother is a cub, cougar / whatever. She dates younger men because, like me, her autism makes her have a young personality, so niggas who are younger than her or try to get with her. I have dated men up until 10 years younger than me. I have a 10-year cap because at that point, I feel like I could be your mother. It's getting gross. Even as me, though, I did not start dating younger people until I hit 40. When I hit 40, I dated someone who was 33. Right? Because I'm like, well, you're an adult. At 40, I would not have dated the 27-year-old. So at 54, what the fuck? Right? I'm at the stage now where I used to say 10 years younger or 10 years older. I lied. I think that's too much for me. I think for me, it's about 5 years younger or 5 years older. I tried to do 10 and I ended up with Icky. Me and Icky are exactly 10 years apart. Y'all saw how that went. The one time I went all the way to the edge of 10, we ended up with a 5 hour and 46 minute story time about how he had me fucked up. Never do that again. It's not finna happen, right? So yeah, let's continue. Oh my, I don't think I'm gonna make it. Y'all, I've been doing this live for an hour and some change. I don't think I'm gonna make it. I'm going to try to push through and let it play without me saying anything else. I'm just so disgusted.
Well, I got some secondhand embarrassment because you can tell with Leah and Chris that she likes him a lot more.
Oh, this black woman. Oh my God, my sister. Let me see if I can pull up a picture of her. I'm going to be nice to her because I feel like she's going through it. There's a black woman who, I know we say black don't crack. What do you call it when black hasn't cracked, but you look your exact age? Let's do Leah, age of attraction. This black woman on age of attraction, she's 41 apparently. I thought she was 46. You know what, guys? I'm gonna say this. I do have a lot of friends who look good for their age and who moisturize and who have young spirit, because age is not just about how you appear, it's also about your spirit. I do think that because spirit makes you look younger and because moisturizer also makes you look younger, there is an elderliness about these women that I don't relate to, even though some of them are technically in my age hemisphere. Yes? So let's pull this up. We already talked about the well-preserved 54-year-old and the nigga who looks, oh my God, he looks even more like her than I thought. This looks like her with the wig on. Like, he looks like if he put a wig on, he would be her. So not only are you dating somebody young enough to be your son, you're dating somebody who looks like he could be your son. Oh my God, they have the exact same face. Gross. All right, up next, this is the one who had to beg for some peen, and the man said, "Can you give me a second?" And then he was done because he didn't really want to do it. So this is the one who somebody said beautiful spirit, not beautiful spirit. This is the one who begged for sex and immediately felt older. She's 49 and he's 29. This is boneless burnt cookie edges, right? Because the edge of his face is very young and tight, and the middle says 70. Yeah. So he's 43. Whoa. Okay. Did not realize he was 43. He's 43, and she looks like a barely 18 OnlyFans model. Up next, here we go. Now, sis is 41. I believe 41. I would have also believed 46. Not based on how she looks. She acts like, I'll never forget this. When I was younger, I was like 17. There was this Black woman who was in her mid 30s, early 40s, who I thought was much older than she was because she just gave desperate energy, and desperation ages you. Ladies, desperation ages you. Being juicy keeps you young, right? And I remember I was 17. I had an ED. I had dieted myself down to like 145, 150. No, I was between 145, 153 pounds. When you have an ED, you remember the numbers exactly. And I remember going to the YMCA twice a day, once in the morning before school and once after school to work out. And she was part of the after school program. So me and my full hunger, because I was a hungry bitch. I was eating about 250 calories a day. Me and my full hunger start hanging out in the center. And she's one of the counselors who I thought was in her 40s, but she was actually in her 30s. And one day she was like, your skin is so pretty. Because at 17, I looked like a big titty 14-year-old. Okay. I looked very prepubescent right before I turned 18. It was about 30 when I looked like a full adult. So at 17, she's like, your skin is so glowy. You have such great skin. I remember being so weirded out because people used to tell me I had amazing skin as a kid. I was like, what the fuck are y'all talking about? I got bumps. Back then I thought texture meant you had bad skin. I didn't realize that that's just called skin. And so because I didn't have glass skin, I was like, why are you saying I have good skin? I don't have good skin. She was like, Blue, what the fuck are you talking about? You have amazing skin. I was like, well, you have good skin too. I was lying. I was a people pleaser. I was 17. I just wanted this weird old lady to leave me alone. And at 17, you do think a 30-something-year-old is old. And I remember her saying to me, no, I don't. I got bumps on my face. She did have bumps. And I was like, yeah, you do have bumps. And she's like, you know how you get bumps on your face? And I said, how? She said, from not fucking. Ain't nobody touched me in years. That's why I got bumps in my face. And then she ran off crying. I felt like I had been abused. Screaming, I ain't had sex in years. Don't nobody want to fuck me. I got bumps in my face. And then running off while talking to a teenager. I felt violated. I was like, ew, you dirty old bitch. Anyways, that stuck with me for years. I remember when I was like 35 and I went through a celibacy streak and I found a pimple. I was like, oh, wait, was that creepy old bitch, right? Do you get bumps in your face when you stop fucking? Later I would find out when you are older and horny and you're stress eating chocolate, it's probably the candy and the sugar and you crying into your pillow, right? But I'll never forget that story because I remember thinking, what an old desperate bitch, right? Something about being so devastated and inappropriate. Okay, why am I sharing these stories? I'm so sorry. Yo, I don't think I'm equipped to do this. I'll never forget, in my mind, I was like, ew, so let's not be that when we hit 35. Because what the fuck was that? And it always stuck with me how at 17, how desperation ages you. Brother, ew, right? Like you up here crying to a 17-year-old about having celibacy bumps on your face. Something I'm not even sure it actually is a real thing, right? I'm saying that because the way I felt at 17 talking to a sexless, sad, desperate 34, 35-year-old at the YMCA, that exact same in my pit of my stomach is what was triggered watching this show. Watching this show pulled me back to the YMCA wondering, oh my God, is she gonna touch me? What's wrong with her? Why do I need to know she ain't got no sex? I hope she don't want it for me. Like the lady scared the shit out of me, okay? She scared me. And she must have known that she went too far because moving forward, she would avert eye contact and she stopped talking to me. Because she was supposed to teach me how to swim. That's also why I don't know how to swim. She was a swimming coach. Oh shit, I forgot to mention that part. The reason why I never learned how to swim is because this creepy old bumpy faced non-sex lady was teaching the class. I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna let her see me in a swimsuit. You old nasty old bitch. So that's just to tell you guys my disdain for this show We've gone off the tracks. All right, let's go back to whatever the fuck
he likes her, because at first they were like this, but then slowly you can see that he's getting annoyed with her.
So yes, the 41-year-old Black woman who reminds me of the swim coach counselor lady from the YMCA. Like I could see her saying she got bumps in her face because ain't nobody touched her since 97. She, with that energy, is dating this young, hot-ish, young, swirly-looking Lebanese guy. At one point, he said, "I'm Lebanese, but my mother was born in Haiti," and so he was letting her know, "My mother was born in Haiti. I'm very comfortable with Black women," like, which I thought was really cool, by the way. So he's this cool pro-Black Lebanese guy who's attracted to an older Black woman. I was like, okay, this could be cute. This could be real sexy. And then she started acting like Bumpy, the clown. She gave me the ick so bad. And I think it's important for us to talk about how predatory behavior doesn't just live in men, right? I have been sexually harassed by all types of people. People are always like, of course, when I talk about men sexually harassing me, I've been sexually harassed by women. There was an old 50-year-old lesbian named Maria who worked at my first job when I came out the closet as pansexual, who used to take me on lunch dates. Bitch, I was 21. Why are you taking a 21 on lunch breaks? You're 50, right? So I've been around predatory women as well, guys. And something about her, it feels like she's an unintentional predator, where her just being older and sad and horny has made her predatory in a way that she's not clocking because she's a Black woman. We can be predators too, guys.
And so I can guarantee you they're not going to be together by the end of the show. Now, Libby and Andrew, like, they're cute for now. Because, I mean, she's 22. She's a baby. She's my age. And he's 38 with...
Wait, you're 22? Okay. You know what? The lady talking is 22? What is age? What the fuck? What the fuck? Okay, Gen Z, we need to have a meeting. The lady with the braids talking, she's 22? Then I don't know age then, guys. You know what? I might have to recuse myself. Why does everybody look older than I? Okay. Somebody says that's a strong 22. Before anybody asks, I look exactly my age, so I'm not purporting that I look so young. I look exactly my age. Okay? I didn't think, okay, let me hit play.
2 kids, but she is not ready to take on that responsibility. And with Derek and Pfeiffer, I share the exact same sentiment, because she's 23 and he's 43 with 2 kids. And he also held off on telling her that he had kids with her.
Is he 43? I would like to see everybody's license. Boneless cookie burnt edges face does not look 43. There's no world where me and this man went to high school. No. You guys have had enough. You can't trick me. Everybody's lying. Blue, let me give you another tip. You're sharing a lot today. I'm not laughing at you saying I'm sharing a lot. I'm laughing at you saying I'm being vulnerable, because I realize maybe we talking about the sexual predator teaching the swim class at the YMCA. That is vulnerable. I just didn't clock it. I just called her Bumpy the Clown. But yes, that's trauma. You're right. That is trauma. I appreciate you for appreciating that.
I have a big issue with. And last but not least, we have Teresa and John. And I think that they would work out if they were on an island.
This is Stella got her groove back. This is the 54-year-old and the 27-year-old. Duh. Yo, this is how long the clip was. It was just, What producer thought it made sense to play that clip for so long? What producer thought, oh, you know what her 29-year-old son would love to see? A door while his mother's getting back shots from one of his peers. The irony is, I suspect that, you know the movie Inception, where it's a dream within a dream within a dream? It's like Russian dolls of consciousness. That movie, I should watch that movie on edibles, because that shit would fuck me up. Like Inception, if Netflix keeps making shows like Age of Attraction, Netflix is going to have to do a Netflix documentary about itself. If y'all keep playing this Epstein-Light PDF file bullshit, this predatory bullshit, where people who are barely adults with chewy, soft frontal lobes are being asked to enter into commitments without informed consent with elders. If y'all keep doing this, 50 Cent gonna have to do a documentary about you on you. Netflix presents Netflix. My bad, y'all. We suck too. Limited series. Because ain't no fucking way that the niggas who play all the documentaries exposing everybody need to be exposed themselves. And for all of you who are like, I'm not watching the 50 Cent documentary because he's problematic as well. So who is he to talk about Diddy? Who better? No, I want 50 Cent to start a trend. I want predators to keep making documentaries about other predators. Who better? Who better than another devious nigga to talk about devious niggas? Let the trash take itself out. I will watch every documentary that 50 Cent does about predators and then watch the one about him. Can you imagine if all the horrible men who are predatory, all the horrible women who are predatory, if all the predators and evil people in the world just kept on spending their money documenting each other? We could take a nap. I'm just saying, we could take a nap. So yeah, I'm not conflicted watching a 50 Cent documentary. I'll take 14 more.
And no one else was there because I think she is terrified of public perception and her family's perception because he is younger than her oldest son. And like, he's 27 and she's 54. And
someone said Surviving Netflix by Warner Brothers. That would be hilarious. That would actually be fucking hilarious.
It's cool that he doesn't care about any of that, the age gap, public perception, or her kids, but she does, and that's why the relationship is not going to work out.
So Leah is 41 and Mr. Chris is 26. Now, when they got together, I feel like they should have did a little bit more talking about...
Someone said the clapping is too much. Baby, what I heard wasn't clapping. You think me pantomiming it with my hands was as bad as me watching her get back shots?
Each other's love language, because Miss Leah is more of a touchy-feely, affectionate type of person, and it seems as though I thought Chris was at first, but apparently not so much. When they moved in together, he was saying, you know, that's all cool and dandy, but I'm not used to somebody constantly being there in my face, and just having to get used to living with someone, period, which I totally get. It's definitely like a learning thing, learning to live with someone when you haven't live with anyone and it's just been you. So having to get used to somebody plus learning to live with somebody is two big, huge things. I get it. I just wish, like I said, they would have talked a little bit more about their love language so that he does not feel so like he needs to come up for air. Like he feels, I guess, strangled in a way.
I really don't know if you're ready for this one. You ready?
First of all, even how I said that sound, I don't think you ready for this one. Okay, Mr. Burns, calm the fuck down. I don't know if you was ready. Jorge, if you're trying to bag a young girl and tell her your age and make it, you know, palatable, maybe don't sound like an extra from the Life movie starring Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence. I sure hope that you don't think it's too much. For those who came in late, I'm going to be doing a live about who from the show I know personally and how I met them after this. Okay.
I'm 60.
She said, did y'all hear that? What you heard leaving her body was her fucks. She dissociated. When she went, her ability to be present floated out of her mouth and went into the car waiting for her to break up with him. This was the exact moment that she left her body. Everything that you see that happens between now and her breaking up with him is just a Sims avatar. It's a simulation. It's ChatGPT. Okay, it's AI. Everything from the we ain't seen the bitch since. Okay. He's literally old enough to be your grandfather if your daddy was a hoe. I had a friend whose grandmother was only about 35 years older than him because I think his mother got pregnant at like 18 and she got pregnant at 18. So it's like his grandmother, between his grandmother and himself was only like 36 years. If you come from a family of young Afro-Latins who don't use condoms, he could have literally been your grandfather. When I tell this story to Members Only Live, I'm gonna have to I'm gonna talk about God, because there's a couple of celebrities mentioned in the periphery of this story. No, they can't get mad at me. Actually, no, they can't get mad at me. It doesn't look bad on anybody notable. Okay, sorry guys, I'm just making sure that I'm having discernment about how I share the story time later. All right, continue.
Oh,
This lady's watching with her baby like, what the fuck?
yeah, you might want to think about that one.
You look so young.
I can't be the only one that thinks that Vanelle from Age of Attraction is extremely weird. I'm only on episode like 3, but she is so weird. I'm 26. I would
see. I believe that she is 26. I believe that she is 26. You see, I can believe people's ages.
absolutely never, like, once someone tells me that they're 60, that's the last time that we're speaking.
I've been watching that show, The Age of Attraction, right? Tell me why. I can't be the only one who's noticing these little comments that Jorge is saying towards
He makes dirty old man comments. Yeah, I noticed that too.
Vanelle. They're low-key red flags to me in my eyes, because he keeps saying, like, he says these little sexual things and he doesn't even know her yet. Like, when they had their first, I think it was like their second date, and when they're leaving, he's like, go ahead and walk in front of me so I could basically see your ass, bro. And then she's like, hee hee. But that's weird, right? And then later on, when he's giving her the promise ring, and then they're having like this nice moment and they're hugging or whatever, and then he's like, let me grab that booty. Ew, you know what I'm saying? That's gross. And then on top of that, for her to just explain to him that she's on this path of like this journey of celibacy.
Yeah.
Bro, are you fucking kidding me? Like, that's like the biggest turn off to me. And they'll start with little hints too. Like, you don't even, not my brush, wait. They'll start with little hints, right? They'll throw something in there just to see if you know, respond back and give them that same energy. But it's like, bro, I don't even fucking know you. Back the fuck up. Ew. Okay, wait.
She's not wrong. It was giving dirty old man in a way that, first of all, men of all ages do it, right? I've had a couple of men that I've met recently who've put out sexual feelers like, you trying to fuck? You know how men are, right? So that's not age specific. But if you know that you are a 60-year-old man and you know that this young lady's in her 20s or 30s, come on, bro. Like, you doing it with that age difference with the camera on you, you have to know, you have to have enough awareness to see how off that looks. By the way, the person who I'm friends with on the show has been posting about the show, and I have been trying to avoid their stories because I'm getting the ick. And the stories, they're like, big person, like, hey guys, let's all toast to being on this amazing show. And I'm like, ew. And I'm usually the friend who congratulates my friends when they have shows coming out. I live in LA. When you live in Hollywood, you're constantly shouting out friends who have movies, albums, TV shows, etc. coming out. I come on here and I constantly shout out my friends. Yeah, I'm not shouting out shit.
Deadass, like, wait, is it because I subconsciously am thinking he's viejito because he's 60 years old, right? And this is like, all this is unfolding. And then in my mind, I'm just thinking, viejito, like, viejo mañoso.
Yes, guys, I know, I'm not going to use the word friend. I spent a summer hanging out with one of the contestants and did not recognize them where I knew them from until the show, the last episode. I was like, oh, that's the nigga from the summer of 2021. Yeah, I disassociated so bad, it took me forever to realize that I knew this person.
No se les quita, no importa. It doesn't matter how old they get, they're always going to be perverted. He's like a perverted old man.
My friend is in every episode. Not my friend. The person I know, this is not my friend. The word friend is overstating it. The person I know is in every fucking episode.
Man.
I'm obsessed that on Age of Attraction, everyone has like age blindness. Like the girl that's like 27 and she's dating like.
Of course, I saw Mike with Olandria. Mike and I are hosting something together like in 2 weeks. That's my cousin. Of course, I saw
guy that's 60, and when he tells her that she's 60, she's like, oh, "No way! I thought you were in your 40s." And it's like,
thank you. I found somebody online who agrees with me that nobody looks good for their age. Everybody looks their age. They all look good, but they also look their age. I don't think anybody's ugly on the show. I don't think that even boneless burnt edges cookie. He's not ugly. I can see why somebody want to hunch on him, I guess. It's not me. But like, finally someone saying, are y'all age blind? None of these motherfuckers look like anything other than their age. Why are we gasping? Why are we gasping?
Did you thought that man was a millennial when you guys were having a conversation about men being dominant, and he was like, yeah, basically telling you that, like, I like my girl in the kitchen. Like, that was giving millennial to you? No, it wasn't. He wasn't even giving Gen X, girl. He was a boomer. And then the lady who, like, was dating the guy who looks like Prince Harry, and she's like, yeah, like, I love A League of Their Own with Madonna. And he's like, Madonna's an actor? And you're like, babe, you thought?
A woman who was older than me is dating a man who said, I didn't know Madonna was an actor. And she still wanted to hit it.
That guy was gonna be not a Gen Z? Really?
Bruh, I thought, first of all, I called him at 60.
Yeah.
I said 62 really, but I called him at 60. Her, I said she was 37.
Oh, also, I found somebody, because I was like, I can't be crazy. So I went digging. I found somebody else who also thought that she was 10 years older. I knew it couldn't just be me. I knew I was not the only one shocked that Varnell, even the name. I thought that she mightn't have done, the Dougie when they first came out. I was shocked.
I guess I ruined it for y'all for watching it, but fuck it, I don't care. That girl I swore was 37, 38. She shocked the shit out of me. I couldn't call that one. But him, I knew his old ass. Look at his hand. Look at his hand. Look at his hand. That nigga ain't on no celibacy. What you talking about?
Call me crazy, but I feel like this Age of Attraction show would have been a lot more interesting if it was all black people.
Hear me out. I kind of like this premise. She's saying that she thinks the show would have been better if it was black folks. I agree. I think if we took a group, it would still be predatory, but if we took a group of black people who moisturize and are not desperate, right? Because the lack of moisture and the presence of desperation age you, regardless of how attractive you are, yes? If we took non-Botoxed, well-moisturized, right, emotionally regulated black people and threw them on a dating show, that would be still predatory, but I'd feel better about watching it. I'd feel better about watching it because I'd be too entertained to realize I was going to hell. This show wasn't entertaining enough for me to forget I was going to hell. I remembered every scene. We are going to hell for watching this. But I'm going to let her cook.
You got these little white critters on the screen, and baby, I could tell how old you is. These white women, I could tell how young you supposed to look. Like, if it was all black people on the screen, we'd be like, what? Ain't no way that bitch 49. Ain't no way. She look like 27. Ain't no way. Ain't no way that man 50-something. He look like 41 max. I'm watching this show like, yeah, you look your age, sis. It's not a surprise. I don't see how this is supposed to be a mystery. It's not a mystery.
I'm gonna give you a couple seconds.
Not a single one of the reveals surprised me, guys. The only surprise I got was Vernell not being in her 30s. And yeah, the only surprises I got was people who I thought were older than they actually were younger than I thought. I was not surprised by how old anybody was. I was surprised by how young some people were. So follow me on this. Everybody who was younger shocked me, except for like maybe one or two. Libby was clearly in her early 20s. But the older people, none of them shocked me. I was like, yeah, that's not right.
Well, to be honest with you, I didn't think it was the time.
Yo, Jorge and Vanel.
The most important thing was the age difference. Because if you can have the age difference,
Jorge and Vanel. That man is 60 years old. She's 27. Now, here's my thing. I think Vanel should have chosen Justin. And I'm going to tell you why I believe she should have chosen Justin. Because Justin was kind. He was safe.
He was.
He was respectful.
He was.
And a gentleman. Overall gentleman, right? Vulnerable, honest, all those things, right? I'm 4 episodes in. And why Jorge started off with the lies. Already started off with the lies. And I'm heated right now.
Jorge love bombed the fuck out of her, but somehow forgot to mention that he had 2 grown children.
Because why did you pick him? And my thing is like, she was talking about how she's like, I'm torn between the two. And in one of her first conversations with Justin, they talked about kids. Why was she with Jorge? They never talked about kids. This man is 60 years old, my love. And you don't think he don't got some kids somewhere?
Thank you.
What? Because that changes the dynamic of the conversation. What is...
Shorty just asked him, what is the relationship between your mother's kids, you and the mother of your children, whatever. But my thing is like, I feel like in listening to her talk about both of the guys in her like little like dialogue or whatever, monologue, whatever you want to call it, she had said like, you know, I don't feel, you know, she was really, really digging Justin and then Jorge got her. Okay, whatever. And she had said something along the lines of like, you know, I just don't, with Justin, you know, I really like him, but I don't feel that like spark, the excitement or whatever. Where with Jorge, she's like, you know, I'm giddy and I get all these butterflies and all these things. Babes, that's your nervous system. That's your nervous system.
We have to stop here. I intentionally, because I'm setting up the members only live right now. So if you see me looking away, it's me just getting the room ready for us to pivot to members only when this is over. It took me 35 years. I was 35. I don't forget it. I mean, it wasn't that long ago. I'm not 100. Oh, I'm 112 for anybody who's wondering how old I am. But back in, you know, the 1800s, when I was 35, and by the way, I love making everybody think I'm much older than I am because it's fun. How old is Blue? 67. Oh, she look good. When I was 35, I remember the moment it hit me that I was lactose intolerant, and that bubble guts when you eat ice cream is just lactose intolerance. Because Black folks like to make a debilitating shit sound cute, right? That's Mel texting me that she'll be here in an hour. Perfect. So I was like, wait a minute. This whole time we've been saying we got bubble guts is lactose intolerance, right? When y'all say my nerves bad, you're actually overstimulated and might be experiencing burnout, ADHD, autism, or some kind of neurodivergence. My nerves are bad. My nerves are bad is I'm overstimulated. We now know that there's language for being overstimulated. A touch of the sugars is diabetes. Black people, marginalized people survive a lot of times by finding cute names for fucked up shit, right? My nerves is bad anxiety, and your anxiety could also be because you're overstimulated because you have ADHD and there's too much noise coming at you. Yeah? And so we have such cute ways of doing that. I remember thinking to myself, because, you know, I was still tweaking my classes. I was like, is there any emotional intelligence terms that have been co-opted with lesser, more benign sounding Black terms? And that's when it hit me, fuck it being a Black thing. As human beings, we think butterflies in my stomach means you like somebody. It means your nervous system is deregulated around them. Alicia Keys talking about, not Alicia Keys, Marsha Ambrosius done sold Michael Jackson that song Butterflies. Michael was singing about emotional deregulation, and he a Virgo, he should know. Marsha, you and Natalie with The Gap, y'all had this man singing about not feeling safe. You give me butterflies. Nigga, if I have to poot when I'm around you, my emotions are not, my nervous system is not. So no, guys, as you get older, please stop looking for butterflies. No, I do not want butterflies. I want to be in the spirit of wetness when I'm around you. More on that later because y'all have seen the videos I've done about spirit of wetness. I want to feel like you are so calming to my nervous system that I could fall asleep in your arms. I want the opposite of butterflies. I want a regulated nervous system. And I think Vernell, regardless of what age she actually is in her license, is someone who fell for the trap of you fell for the butterflies and not the man who was giving you a massage to the point where you almost took a nap in the middle of breaking up with him. As she's breaking up with this man, he's massaging her. He's rubbing her back. As she's rejecting him, he's massaging her. And you know, if you gonna dump me while I'm massaging you, I might pinch your ass. I got long nails, they're real. I might accidentally, oops, shanked you, my bad. This man massaged her with the same tenderness as she was breaking his heart as he did when he thought that he had a chance with her. A man who has so much dignity and integrity and who is so gentle and calming that you can lay there relaxed in your bathing suit as he massages you while you break up with him. It damn near looked like they're about to give each other a happy ending. Y'all know how I feel about men who keep you safe even when you displease them, because that's what safety actually looks like, right? If a man only keeps you safe when you make him happy and he sees you as his property, that's not chivalry. That's just man shit, right? So I do think Vernell, to the point of the young lady in this video, fell for the older shaft in the book. She mistook butterflies as a good thing. Y'all, stop looking for butterflies. Who do I breathe calmer with when he's around? All right, let's keep playing.
Jorge is a red flag. Jorge is a red flag.
Yeah, he is.
And you're not trusting your nervous system. Justin was safe. Now, I don't know Vanelle's dating history, but if she's probably had enough dating history to be like, I need to try something different. That's how she ended up on the show.
Also, too, she's also a black woman. And you know, if a black woman meets a black man who's a risk and a white man who is safe, we are so fucking loyal. We'll probably risk it with the black man. I do think that race, because Jorge, I think he's Afro-Latin. So they're two black people. If I have a swaggy black man in my face and a really sweet, kind Alexis Ohanian, I love Serena Williams, who's trying to get me to be swirly, my natural inclination will always be to choose the brother. So I'm going to shoot her some bail that between mistaking butterflies for a good thing and him being black, it was always going to be Jorge.
So I'm going to assume, and it may make an ass out of me, but I'm going to assume that because Justin was so calm and safe that she didn't know what to do with that. So she went to the thing that was familiar in the chaos. And I truly believe Jorge is about to bring. Because how you not going to tell this young lady? First of all, she probably the same age as your kids.
Yep.
How you not going to tell this young lady that you got some kids? And then you told the boys, and the boys were like, you didn't tell her? So then they pan over to the girls talking, and the girls are like, wait. Does Jorge have kids? And she's like, no, he doesn't. Yo, with mad confidence, she said no.
She did say
no. Let's see how it goes.
Oh my God, I hate this man. Oh my God.
You're saying you're celibate, but yet we can mess around.
So this is one of the last arguments they had. If you just heard him, he said, you said we're celibate, but we mess around. Here's the part where the misogyny of the women who have Jorge's back, because internalized misogyny is real. This is where it got really loud. People are saying that it was fucked up of Vernell. And if you guys see me looking away, it's because I'm setting up members only live, because we're ending this live in like the next 15 minutes to go to members only. People are saying that it was fucked up of Vernell to tell Jorge that she was celibate while also messing around with him in the bed. Celibate means that there's no penis in vagina, right? It doesn't mean that I don't want to hug on you and kiss on you. It doesn't mean that I'm not attracted to you sexually and don't want to have a boundary that I set for myself. If I say that celibacy means that you can still eat me out and we could do oral sex, but we can't have intercourse, you have to then decide if you are comfortable with that iteration of celibacy. But there are women who are saying, well, girl, if you're going to let him touch your kitty cat, or if you're going to kiss him in the mouth, now you got to fuck him. Or you just a dick tease. Y'all don't hear the problem with that. Y'all don't hear the problem. Hold on, I'm gonna make this members only for. Y'all don't see the problem with telling a woman that she's not allowed to create rules about what she does with her own body in relation to a man who is 33 years her senior, who she just met 2 weeks ago on a reality show. Women are actually saying, how are you telling Jorge you celibate if you sit on his lap? How are you telling Jorge you celibate if he gets to make out with you and touch your titties at night? Where do y'all live where touching my titties is the same thing as fucking me? I need to know. What kind of sex y'all having? So you're saying you've never been on a date with a man where you are attracted to him but don't want to have intercourse, and you let him do other stuff and then stop because you don't want to have intercourse but you're so attracted to him? You're telling me that's never happened in your life? And you're telling me that if a man told you that you owe him sex now because you let him touch your titty, you wouldn't think that he was a rapist? We're about to play a video after this clip. After Jorge sits there, look how he's sitting. He's sitting there like an angry grandpa, like, let me explain to you how you can't say you're celibate if you're gonna let me touch your titty, but I can't, sniff, I can't let you sniff my dick. If I can't put my dick in you, but you can let me touch your titty, then you're not really celibate. So how you gonna say you celibate if you don't even know what the fuck the word means? So you're not even making sense. So you the problem. I'm not the kind of nigga that you could just push around and tell me where I can't touch you. Actually, yeah, that's called consent, Jorge. All men should be open to being told when and where they can touch women. That was your big gotcha? That you're not going to be pushed around and inconvenienced by sexual consent? And you hoes are defending this. Someone said clipping in a little bit for Mel's food. Oh, chipping in a little bit for Mel's food. Oh, thank you, because I will have to bribe her to leave the house at 10 o'clock. Any woman who fixed her mouth and opened her camera phone to make a TikTok or Instagram video or a Facebook video, because that crowd loves misogynoir, to say that Vernell was a dick tease and confused because she was not willing to have intercourse with an elderly man that she met a week earlier on national television simply because she kissed him and sat on his lap and showed attraction to a man that she was attracted to. I'm singing Negro spirituals in my head as I sway back and forth. What in the Eve's Bayou? Y'all, one thing I will give the show credit for, as it sits there and tries to normalize and spoon feed us predatory behavior in men and women, it's revealing how much work needs to be done. The amount of women who said, see, two things can be true at once. Vernell, should not be dating a 78-year-old because she's 12, allegedly, even though she looks 40. But she should have been okay with that man scaring her and beating up an assailant. And why she not going to give him no puss if she sat on his lap? Y'all don't see how two things are not true at once? You are, in both cases, an idiot. Hold on. Okay, sorry, it's my mom. Hold on. Hello? Hello? Hi, Mommy. Hi, Mommy, I love you. Are you okay? Okay, I'll call the Uber now. Okay, love you. So our live just got interrupted because my stepdad needs me to order an Uber for him to go home because he can't order his own Uber. Y'all, the fact that a 70-year-old man is trying to get me to do the bare necessities for him, maybe this is why I personally don't believe in young women giving up their youth to be with older men who only want them to change their bedpans. Doing it for family and knowing that my parents can age and I can work hard enough and do all these lives and work 5 streams of income and do, y'all know I work a lot. The fact that I can afford to take care of my aging parents, even though it annoys me that my life got interrupted because my dad needs me to get him an Uber, it makes sense doing it for my elders. He didn't raise me, so I don't owe him anything in the sense of you raised me, now it's my turn. That nigga didn't raise me. He met my mother when I was 26, right? But the fact that he's the man who loved my mother into her golden years is why I feel beholden to him, right? And so circle of life shit is still annoying. Doing it from the person who's supposed to be hunching in you and giving you back shots, yeah, no. Let me call this nigga's Uber. Hold on, guys. I apologize. In fact, you know what? I'm going to let Jorge keep mansplaining to this young girl while I call Uber for my own Jorge, who I'm not sleeping with, thank God.
Do other things.
Gross. Nasty bitch.
Then it's not really celibacy.
It's her version of celibacy.
Thank you.
You think celibacy is.
Yeah, so?
And what you're saying.
Why are you having a tantrum?
You said in the promise room, well, I want to be celibate in the sense of I won't have intercourse, but I'll do other things.
Okay, yeah, so that's basically what I'm saying. If this man was my dad, I would be so embarrassed.
It's not me violating those principles. It's like you like to dictate circumstances.
Yeah.
You like to be in control of them.
Yeah.
I'm not.
You like to dictate circumstances. You like to be in control. First of all, shout out to Vernell. She actually, without makeup, looks 27. And I mean, I do wish she had just pulled the half wig back. Just pull it back so we can see her. Okay. Sorry, the half wig is still fucking with me. But with no makeup, she actually does look 27. So this is a perfect example of how you can style yourself into looking older. Just a little heads up to the girls who are doing Botox and big, thick, heavy wigs.
Do that thing, and then you can control like that.
Well, then leave.
And that's always going to be me. Okay. The power of life and death is in the tongue.
Oh,
so
don't bring Jesus into this.
I guess we're good, right?
I don't know what good means. What do you mean?
So he keeps talking at her. And she's like, is this man who's mad that I'm not fucking him talking to me as if he's my father scolding me? Do y'all see his body language? I'm playing this clip and I'm doing it in a way that I hope won't get me in trouble. But I'm playing this clip to show you how much his body language and how much his stance and even the tone in which he's talking sounds very much like you're being scolded by a father. And at 27, as somebody who has already said that their father told them, don't you come home with somebody who's more than 5 years older than you, I know for a fact that she felt triggered that he was her father. Why are you reminding her that you're old enough to be her grandpappy at the very time of you complaining about not having sex? You're trying to convince me to date someone who is more than twice my age. You're trying to convince me to date you, and you're mad that I sat on your lap and won't let you put the donut in the hot dog in the donut. You acting like my daddy's probably not going to make me feel wetter for you. Yes? Thank you. Somebody said here, it screams I'm disappointed in something you did and that I have to sit here and explain it to you while talking about boundaries she already communicated. Yeah, you're communicating to her, trying to convince her to completely renege a boundary that she already clearly set with you. The amount of gaslighting and manipulation in this video, it actually stuns me that there are women in their 40s and up who are defending him, talking about what a well-spoken man, what a good man. Bitch, he wouldn't want you. You're too old.
We can go our separate ways. Let's go, little kitty cat. You don't want to
Do you see how she completely regressed into a child and said, all right, well, I guess this is over.
anymore? Oh.
Okay, so I'm caught up on all of the episodes of Age of Attraction so far. All I have to say is Vanelle and Jorge. I'm happy y'all are not together no more. Vanelle, I'm happy you're not with him no more, but he wasn't wrong. But I'm happy you're not with him no more.
Jorge apologized.
But he wasn't wrong.
Yeah, he
Thoughts
was.
after the first episodes of Age of Attraction? I'm Team Jorge. I don't know if that's because I'm about to be 42 and I'm just resonating more with a 60-year-old man. I agree with him about the celibacy thing. If she's claiming she's celibate and it's so important it's a deal breaker, then you shouldn't be gyrating on Jorge at night.
So you can't touch your man just because he can't fuck right? Okay.
Am I the dude now?
Yeah.
Am I like the way the guy thinks now?
No, you're not the dude. You're the misogynist. There's a difference. You're not being a man because not all men are misogynistic. There are men in this world who recognize that we are all spoon-fed misogyny and who actively work to kill the misogyny within them. So you're not being a dude. You're being a misogynist. Misogyny is a system of oppression. Don't conflate misogyny with being a man. There are men in this world who recognize the misogyny that lives in them and they work against it. You are embracing it.
Then she's like, I just don't feel I can talk to him. I don't like the way he talks to me. Do you know how gently he's freaking talking to you? Let me
So Jorge being condescending because it's not overtly abusive is being called gentle. You guys, the link for the next cohort of the On Thy Shift Self-Mastery Emotional Intelligence Bootcamp is going up next week. This is reminding me why this work is important. Watching this show is reminding me just how much people lack emotional intelligence and any sense of what psychological safety actually looks like. Because Jorge speaks in a quiet tone, all of his manipulation tactics are too covert for the average woman to clock it, and that weirds me out. I'm weirded out that people are clapping just because he didn't yell. Is the bar in hell? So if a man doesn't yell, he's automatically safe? Oh my God. Have you never watched Silence of the Lambs? That nigga whispered the entire time and still ate people.
tell you something? I would love for a man to talk to me that way. Where's Jorge at? Jorge, where you at, dog? I need you to come here and defend me. Also, I'm not celibate by choice.
What a pick me. What a fucking pick me. Wow.
I got you. Wait.
So, guys, we're going to talk about internalized misogyny. Those last 2 or 3 women I showed you were all examples of how when you watch shows like these and you think, oh, what's that term I use? I'm a girl's girl. I don't use girl's girl because that term has been weaponized as a way to rob women of having free agency and their own opinions. And it's also rob women of the ability to hold each other accountable just because they both have vulvas. So I'm not a girl's girl. I'm a person who moves with integrity. We don't need these titles if you have basic integrity and discernment. Yes. So we just watched a bunch of grown women be openly misogynistic. So teachable moment, we're going to talk about how half of you motherfuckers in here probably have internalized misogyny as well. Want to get into it? Yay, this is the fun part. Yes, statistically speaking, at least half of you are probably have internalized misogyny that you haven't confronted. And I want to use this show as an opportunity to educate the men and women who have misogyny living inside of them for us to figure out what it looks like when a woman is being misogynistic. Y'all know this is a show that is always about edutainment. I will use bullshit and pop culture and garbage that we think is just there for brain rot as a way to teach you actually something that makes you a better person. So let's get into it. What is an example of internalized misogyny, boys and girls? Well, I have some visual aids because it's still the internet. Let's watch this.
So why don't you have a lot of friendships with women if you're a woman? Because a lot of women just bring drama. All women are catty. All women, I feel like it's better to be friends with men. Well, why do you think that? Because men are less likely to be involved in drama and they're more chill and really accepting of who I am. And overall,
have you ever at any point in your life said this? I don't really hang with girls like that because they like too much drama. Men are more chill. Raise your hand if you've ever said this. I've lived a life. In your entire life, not you right now that you woke and have Wi-Fi and shit. In your entire life, be honest, including the 1900s. Raise your hand if you've ever said, women are too much drama, women are catty. It's just easier sometimes to get along with men. Thank you to those of you who are being honest, because a lot of you have said it.
I just feel like when I hang out with them, I can be myself and we don't have any problems. I'm like a bro to them. That right there is a prime example of internalized misogyny.
It is.
Because they are essentially equating women with negative traits and negative characteristics as opposed to looking at the men in which they believe they are basically seen on a pedestal, viewing those men as being better than women. Yep. One example of internalized misogyny. And this is something that usually happens in a lot of women who have relationships with men, like long-term relationships with men, their marriages, whatever, and they just never had women friends like that or been able to keep them.
I saw a creator talking about how a lot of times people will tell her that misogyny isn't real or what she is giving.
If you've ever said misogyny isn't real, I need you to just go sit in the corner. You think a whole system of oppression with a millennia of data points to prove it does not exist. Where were you on January 6th and who did you vote for? I'm just curious.
Giving examples of is not misogyny and how they just don't know what misogyny is. And I'd like to piggyback off that to say most people don't know what misogyny is because it is so deeply, deeply embedded in our society. It is the normal thing, unfortunately, to be misogynistic. That's why so many women are misogynistic, even though it works actively against us, because that is a society that we were raised in, that we have been raised in years and years and years, generations and generations. So the reason you don't believe misogyny exists is because you have to actively unlearn it. It is not something that you were just taught in schools. It was not something that was explicitly shown to you and given to you to perform. It is something that just from day one, you observed as a human being as normal. Even me, somebody who is, I would say, a little bit more outspoken about things like this, even I am misogynistic at times. I will admit that because it is something you have to actively work against. And the worst part about all of this is until the majority of people comprehend that this is something they have to unlearn. This is something that you're going to have to actively teach your kids to not learn. Because if you just send them off to school, they're going to learn misogyny on accident without it being a conscious thing. It's that easy and it is that simple. And that
unconscious bias is still bias. Normalized dysfunction is still dysfunction. Just because everybody you know does it doesn't make it suddenly okay. Just because it comes natural doesn't mean it's not toxic and harmful. This is why I'm an ego death coach, because people's egos die on the vine when they realize how many things they think are normal are actually incredibly harmful.
That is why it is literally caked in. I always want to empower women. I always want to make them feel safe and confident when they're on my page. But I also think educating yourself is very important. And this is one of those things. If your initial reaction is, this is not true, this is not real, I really, 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 really think that you should look into it. Start looking up, even if you're a ChatGPT or start ChatGPTing, what are ways I might encounter misogyny in real life? What is the definition of misogyny? Once you start to understand that, you will see it is everywhere. And it's like once you get a red car, you start noticing all the red cars around you. That's exactly how this is.
You know how once you get locks, suddenly you're like, oh my God, everybody has locks. No, you just are hyper-focused on locks because you have them, right? We tend to only see the world through our lens. And so once something has been made clear to you, I can't tell you how many times somebody has watched one of my lives or taken one of my classes and be like, oh my God, Blue, you taught me what Darvo was. And now I'm seeing Darvo everywhere. Darvo, D-A-R-V-O, it's a manipulation tactic that I talk about extensively on this channel. That manipulation tactic has been around since the beginning of time. The only reason why you feel like it's everywhere is because now you know what you're looking at when you clock it. And now you know how to clock it, right? So even autism, people are like, why is everybody autistic? Bitch, people been autistic. It's just now we know how to clock it. Things aren't new. We just have language. New language does not mean the thing itself is new. Make sense? I'm tired of y'all saying, y'all coming up with new shit. We didn't come up with shit, y'all. The thing pre-existed. We're just giving you language for something that's probably existed for thousands of years. The shit isn't new, just the language is.
If you refuse to look at the details that are in front of you, you're never going to see them. I just feel like this type of video is necessary because I always forget how many people are still denying things that are so obviously true and provable in our society.
Okay, these are some things that are super misogynist.
So I like to give examples. So I'm going to give you examples of things that are misogynistic. For those who are talking about the class, I'm going to say this. And members, please don't embarrass me. The members are going to get first dibs at the class because we have very limited seating in the fall. We have 2 classes in the winter, but we only have 1 class in the fall. 1 for everybody. So members, I will give you a heads up the night that the class registration opens, and then in the morning, I will open it up to Gen Pop. I'm telling you now, before anybody cusses me out, talking about, oh my God, I've been waiting for 6 months for this bitch to have a class, and it's sold out before. Okay? I'm giving the members the night before, and then the general population will hear in the morning. All right? All right, let's continue.
That you probably have never even realized before. And it needs to stop. When guys only respect women that they find attractive.
If a man is only nice to women that he considers baddies, and he treats the ugly friend, the fat friend, the black friend, the dark friend, whatever, as whatever because he doesn't want to fuck her, a man who's only kind to you because he wants to fuck you is not being kind to you. That's predatory. That's misogyny. If I am with a guy who thinks I'm attractive and I see a homegirl with me who he doesn't think is attractive and he treats her like shit, that's his real personality because he has nothing to gain from her, so he doesn't have to put on a facade. So men who are only kind to women that they find cute, that's misogyny.
The fact that being called too girly is an insult, but if a guy is too manly, it's praised.
Girl math is internalized misogyny. I'm just a girl, as if being a woman means that you lack logic, discernment, and self-restraint. Internalized misogyny. Yikes, huh? Girl math is internalized misogyny because who said women are not good at counting? In fact, based on the statistics from the FBI, most breadwinners in this country are women, particularly in Black communities. Women are highly educated. So what do you mean girl math means not making sense with numbers?
Fangirls are called crazy or insane, but if a man is a huge fan of a sports team, he's called loyal.
So groupies, right? You call bitches who like a certain whatever, oh, well, she's such a fucking groupie. But if your man literally will not fuck you or bathe when the Bulls are playing, oh, he's just a sports fan. He's such a man. Have you seen what happens when sports teams lose and the men in the crowd are upset? We're not the ones who are being hyper emotional. We're not the ones getting drunk because we flipped over a car. Right? But we're groupies, though. What are they? In fact, DJs have now started complaining that when they do DJ sets at celebrity-filled parties, they have security now trying to pull men away from the stage because men are not letting the baddies be on stage anymore. We have so many men who want to be centered, like damsels, that when you go to a DJ set back in the day, they would always let girls into parties because women being at parties attracts men to spend money, right? That's just how another part of misogyny, right? So back in the day, you would see a DJ or a rapper and you see all these pretty girls just dancing and body rolling and like, ooh, party's over here. Now it's just a bunch of niggas on the stage staring at him. There's videos of like one of them people, I think it was like, what's it called? Not DJ Mustard. London on the Track or DJ Mustard, one of them DJs who's a really big producer literally did a show in Atlanta where he had to end the show because dudes wouldn't get off the stage. Girls were getting pushed because niggas were being baddies. And yet, until recently, we were remiss to acknowledge that, right? But if a girl even said, "Ooh, I want to be in the front and dance for so and so," "Oh, she a bitch, she a slut, she or whatever," what do you call the niggas then, though? Yes, Metro Booming. Thank you, Metro Booming. End of the show, he was like, "I'm not doing this. I'm not doing a set with a bunch of male baddies." Thank you.
When a guy buys condoms, it's a good thing, and it's safe, and it's smart, and it's being responsible and being educated. But when a girl buys condoms, it's like inferred that she's an SLUT.
I have condoms strewn around my house. I'm not even gonna say what that says about me. I used to keep them in my bathroom, in my guest room, in my old house. And I had a friend once say like, "Ooh, I didn't know you was getting it in like that." First of all, I was just trying to be responsible. As a sexually active woman who cares about my pH balance and like my mental well-being, it makes sense for me not to get randomly pregnant with the 3 or 4 eggs I got left by a nigga I met at the club. Like, what? But if you were to walk into a man's house and hit a bowl of condoms, you'd be like, he get it in, but at least he's safe. That's a good brother, huh? But I'm a whore, right?
You should really smile more.
Why do women have to smile to be pleasing to the gaze of men? Why is a woman only allowed to have free agency when she's pleasing to others? Why can't a bitch just have a bad day and scowl walking down the street? How would it look if I told a man to smile? Unless he's trying to fuck on me and get my number, he's probably gonna be like, "Excuse me, bitch." Right? Whenever, telling a woman to smile is such a loaded thing. It's so loaded. People are like, "But no, like smiling is," and you expounding the virtues of smiling is a waste of time. The issue isn't that we are anti-smile. It's that we are pro-free agency. Why do I have to smile to please you? What if that's not how I feel? If I'm upset, why do I have to pretend to not be upset? Because again, I have a vulva, so I have to be pleasing. Yes? Okay. Misogyny.
Diaper changing stations only being in women's restrooms.
Because it's not like you both made the kid, right? Only women change diapers. Only women take care of children. God forbid a man make a child and actually take care of it afterwards. Are y'all seeing how insidious misogyny is?
The fact that I literally can't go out alone when it's nighttime. Also, I'm not.
The fact that women are told, "Why did you leave the house so late? You know you might get raped." So I'm stupid for wanting to leave my house. It's not stupid that men rape people to the point where, okay. I saw a video recently of, and I was talking to Bridget about this. I saw a video recently of a mother at a shoe store. And in the video, and I probably should have played the video. I might play it at a later time. In the video, she's in the shoe aisle with her son, and she sees a weird man walking by. She's like, "Oh, what's wrong with him?" She scoots away from him as he walks by and continues to help her son. When she bends down to help her son with the shoes, the man comes back, walks behind her, and presses his penis against her buttocks, and then scurries off. And in the video, the social commentarian, who's a man, rather than say it's gross that this man assaulted a mother at a shoe store, says, "And this is why I tell women, why didn't you leave when you saw he was a weirdo? The fact that you saw this man being weird and you not only stayed there, you bent down and got on your knees and gave him the opportunity to press this thing on you." And the comments are full of men saying, "Yeah, women don't want to listen these days. We're trying to keep them safe." You saw a man commit a crime and it's her fault? Your video is not about that. It's gross that a woman can't buy shoes for her child without being SA'd. Your video is about how women need to listen more about how to stay away from men who rape. Not any thoughts about men.
Hating on men or blaming men or anything. I'm literally just stating the facts, and it's pathetic.
If you are a woman, you definitely have internalized misogyny.
So we're going to end this today before we go to members only about how to unlearn misogyny, because I wanted to give you guys something to help you figure out how do we unlearn these things, right? How do we unlearn them? You can't unlearn everything. And I've always said this, there are certain forms of things that are technically misogynistic that I subscribe to, that at least I'm aware of what it is. Perfect example of misogyny that I'm okay with and will never not be okay with. Chivalry. Chivalry is a form of misogyny. I'm fucking okay with it. At least I know what it is though, right? For me, it works for me, right? The idea that a man has to protect me and stand on the outside of the street, so if a car comes, he dies first and walks me to my chair and pulls it out for me and opens my door. I like that shit. I'm still educated enough to know that it's based on misogyny though, right? So I'm not saying, oh my God, you have to be just so puritanical and everything has to be tit for tat. I'm saying at least know what the fuck is going on, so that when it doesn't work for you, you're equipped to figure out how to get out of it. Right? You have to be able to call something by its name in order to do something about it. All right, let's watch how to unlearn this bullshit.
I am not judging you. That is just a fact. And I'm going to tell you a couple of ways that you can unlearn it. Because we live in a patriarchal society, misogyny is everywhere and it's in everyone to varying degrees. But for women, it is internalized. And that is where we are taught to hate ourselves and other women.
Yeah.
It is really, really important that you unlearn it so that you can have better relationships with other women, but also yourself. Maybe you don't have like a burning hatred for other women, but maybe you judge them in ways that you don't judge men, or for things that you don't judge men for. You have certain expectations for them that are different from what you would expect from a man. Things like that. Something that has been really integral in me unlearning my internalized misogyny has been prioritizing female perspective. So I make sure that I'm primarily following women on YouTube, on TikTok.
Now this point is important. She talks about how it's important to listen to female perspectives. And she's using the word female correctly. She's not using female like as a noun. She's using it as an adjective, which is where it makes sense. I like that she's going to point out that you also have to have a variety of women, because women are not a flattened experience. Not all women agree on everything. So it's good to listen to women, but it's good to listen to a variety of women.
I listen to female podcasts. I watch shows that are written by women, read books that are written by women. And I think that's a really good place to start. And also making sure that there is a diverse.
Oh, by the way, homophobia is misogyny. The reason why gay men get flack is because they remind people of women. Yeah, homophobia is misogyny.
Selection of women that you follow. Like, don't just follow white women, don't just follow black women. Like, make sure that who you're following and the media that you're consuming is very diverse, so that you can really understand that women are not a monolith. And we show up in so many different shapes and sizes and ways. We're cis, we're trans, we're masculine, we're feminine, we're so many different things. And I think expanding your idea of what a woman is a big piece in unlearning your internalized misogyny. One book that I really recommend is The Beauty Myth by Naomi Wolf, because it talks about beauty standards and how they are used to perpetuate misogyny and oppress women. And I know you guys aren't going to...
Beauty myths are also meant to perpetuate us appealing to PDF files. The need to be so skinny you have no hips or no breast, so you remind them of a 5-year-old girl. Diet culture. There are women who are naturally thin. This is not an assault on them. Trying to flatten all women to be thin and not have things that remind men of puberty. Yeah, guys.
I like this one, but believing that body hair is disgusting on women but acceptable on men is an aspect of internalized misogyny that we all need to unlearn.
And I'm somebody who hates hair on my body. I get lasered every couple of years. And I recognize that a lot of that is the puritanical thing of misogyny. Again, guys, at least be aware. I'm still going to keep on getting lasered. In fact, I'm trying to get it in this summer, so I'm about to call my wax lady. But at least I know where it's coming from.
I want to hear about your sensory issues and stuff, because I understand that is a completely separate thing. But when you think it's disgusting when a woman has body hair, but you think it's like sexy or something, or attractive or neutral when a man has it, that is something that you might...
To be fair, I don't like body hair on nobody. I'll do it on my dude because I'm feral when I like somebody. But if you're not my nigga, body hair does not do it for me. So for me, it's not even gendered. For me, it's more me being a triple Virgo with autism who has a little bit of OCD, right? But I get it.
I want to unlearn. You have to really start to question yourself and really look inward when you find yourself questioning or judging a woman based on her appearance or her choices or how she acts. Ask yourself if you would think that same thing if a man were doing it. And just try to replace that judgment with curiosity and empathy and really think deep.
Gia said, Naomi Wolf is problematic now. Her book was, I hate it when women who were seen as being woke back in the day age into being problematic and having internalized misogyny and transphobia and stuff. It breaks my heart. Her book was good for the time. There are newer feminist writers who celebrate all women. Good. I'm not a feminist, but I think feminism tends to be white-centered and lack intersectionality. But I love that there are people in the feminist realm who do better work than her. So thank you for shouting that out, Gia.
Deeply about why she might be doing that, or if it's even that big of a deal to begin with, or is it just a big deal because I've been sold this image of women and how women should be, and she's not fitting into that. Examine idea.
By the way, it's not misogynistic to get rid of your own body hair. That's personal preference. It's misogynistic to judge women who choose otherwise. I know a young lady who always has her hands up, and she has the biggest underarm bush I've ever seen. And I had to work really hard not to fucking judge her. I worked really hard on it, though. I was just like, ooh. But then I was like, Blue, it's her body. Why does she have to be hairless like a 5-year-old for you to, you know what I mean? So it's tricky, guys. It's an ongoing thing to unlearn things that we've been spoon-fed our entire lives.
It's about how you think a woman should act or dress in order to be respected, because women have inherent value. They are humans, and we deserve respect regardless of what we're wearing or regardless of how we're acting. If we're not actively hurting anyone, that should not impact whether someone treats us with respect. For example, treating a woman terribly or disrespecting her because of what she's wearing, or thinking less about her because of what.
By the way, adding Kennedy Ryan to the list. Yes, Kennedy Ryan was the person who wrote our very first book club selection called Can't Get Enough. So if you are going to read Kennedy Ryan, I suggest you read Can't Get Enough and then go back in the members only archives and find the book club video, because we did a really fun book club about that. We love Kennedy Ryan here. And by the way, when class is over, because class ends this month, when I get my spring and summer back, book club and tarot class, all those things that were fun will come back, but I can't do all those things when I'm teaching class.
What she's wearing or what she's doing with her body, things like that are absolutely not okay, and we don't do that with men. Work on the need to distance yourself from other women in order to feel special or in order to feel good about yourself. It should not take for you to be like, oh, I'm not like those other girls.
Pick me. I know it's hard to admit. If you find pride in I'm not like those bitches, again, guys, it's very insidious.
In order to feel like you're good enough as a person or as a woman. Like, I think it's cute when we all have like a trend that we like, or there's certain things that we all like to wear or stuff like that. Like, I don't feel the need to distance myself from other women because there's nothing shameful about being like another woman. Like, I just look within myself, and so many of the things that I like.
There's nothing shameful about being like another woman. If we could just subconsciously convince ourselves of that, suddenly being a pick-me, being a mean girl, being someone who's steeped in internalized misogyny, half that shit would disappear if we simply believed there's nothing wrong with being like another woman. Exactly. Somebody said that the I'm not like other girls. Oh, that stage. That's when the internalized misogyny is beating our asses the most in high school and early adulthood. Oh, we're all pick-me's at some point during the developmental years because we're told to develop into pick-me's. Society wants us to be pick-me's, guys. You not being one is a miracle, because by design, we should all be pick-me's.
About myself came from other women, like from observing them, from having intimate relationships with them, from just being around them. And there's nothing shameful or anything bad about that. I think it's actually really cute when we like similar things, or we go through phases and trends and stuff together. I think it's cute. I think it's fun. And notice how men don't have that sort of problem as much, where they don't feel like they need to distance themselves from their proximity to other men and how similar they can be. Because of course, if you're around people and you are one of those people, you're going to have similarities, and there's only a problem with that when it's women. Also, women of all sexualities need to unlearn the idea that romantic relationships are more important than platonic or familial relationships. That's not true whatsoever. For one, romantic relationships are the most fragile type of relationship that you can have, so it's kind of ridiculous to put all your eggs in that basket. But also, the other people in your life are not placeholders for when you find that romantic person for you.
Hey,
So guys, did you hear what she said? Other people in your life are not just placeholders for when you find romantic connection. Do I believe romantic connection is important? Absolutely. And I'm also the kind of person who says, I don't believe in us pretending that our friendships and our family can make up for romantic relationships, okay? I'm not trying to go down on my friends at a fucking day party. That's some shit that I keep from me and my man, right? So it's like, there are things that you can only get from your romantic relationships, but to pretend as if that they are the only relationships that matter, something is very wrong with that. There's a reason why Golden Girls was so comforting, because it was us seeing that even when life and romance disappoints you, even when death comes knocking at your door, your sisters can still have your back. So I believe that romantic relationships are incredibly important and cannot be replaced by any other relationship. And I also believe that they should not replace other relationships either. All forms of love have their own special importance. And I hate when y'all conflate different kinds of love. Same way people be like, oh, but you're a mom. How are you lonely? These niggas are 3 years old. I need friends. I need peers, right? Mothers who try to use their kids to make up for not having a social life. Or people who use their social life for making up for not having a man. People who use their man to make up for not having any friends or a career. Every form of love is important in its own way, and I hate when y'all conflate it. So we've now talked about the show, the predatory lens, the suspicious, don't you find that suspicious timeline of Netflix not only keeping it, but prioritizing it in a prime time slot in the wake of the Epstein files. And then we talked about the internalized misogyny that made so many women root for a 60-year-old man who was attempting to have a predatory relationship with a 27-year-old girl, right? We've done all of that. So the question remains, how do we all feel about the show? These last two videos encapsulate the overall sentiment that I saw about the show and how we're part of the problem. Watch this.
Started that show, Age of Attraction? No, I can't. There should be a minimum age and a maximum age. I don't know. I mean, I don't, nope, no,
Right now, this sounds great, right? We're all saying, no, this is gross, it's predatory, we don't want to see this, but let her keep talking.
No. I mean, I'll keep watching, but it's...
She said no, nasty, oh, horrible, but I'll keep watching. And therein lies the problem.
like a fucking train wreck. These aren't going to work. You can't be 20 baby and 60. There is a... Nope.
The Age of Attraction show is diabolical. I can't believe my eyes. I need to boil them right now. I hate it. And I will be watching the entire season.
And there you have it. Rinse, repeat. There's no incentive to not continue to make shows like this because we will keep watching even if we are hate watching. Ratings don't care about a hate watch versus a love watch. A watch is a watch. So when y'all harass me, when y'all harass me to watch these shows that I don't want to watch, just know that we're part of the problem. I don't think I'll be watching Blue Therapy because I want to get me a cute little boyfriend this summer. And I feel like if I watch Blue Therapy after watching Couples Therapy, which is a much better show, please watch Couples Therapy. She's a real therapist who does real work. I'm very proud of her as a coach. Whenever I watch the show, I always agree with her. Even when she's struggling, she's so good. Couples Therapy has merit and is wonderful. Blue Therapy is a bunch of white therapists talking down to and using a lack of cultural competency to help Netflix and whoever produces the show capitalize on toxic relationships between people of color. It's predatory too. I think Blue Therapy is predatory and making a mockery of therapy and giving Black people, specifically Black and brown people, another reason to not trust therapy. So no, I will not be watching it. It's harmful. Okay? Love y'all so much, members. I will see y'all in 2 minutes. I'm going to call Mel real quick and we'll do the members live. So for those of you who are leaving it here, Jen Pop, I love you. Members, I love you more. Yes, I have favorites. We are going to be doing a members only story time about, so who does Blue know on the show? Because I started the show by saying, I realized that I actually spent an entire summer hanging out with one of the cast members. So we're going to get into the story time, all right? So I'll see y'all over there in the members area in about, give me 5 minutes. So it's 7:55 Eastern. I'll see you guys at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, all right? Bye, family. Bye, family.